An hour later, Han Fei appeared in a restaurant with a beautiful woman wearing cropped pants and a t-shirt on her upper body. This beauty looks very heroic and gives a very special feeling. The moment his eyes fell on her, he couldn't help but make people's eyes shine. She's Enran. The reason why Han Fei will be with Enran is because Enran has just booked a ticket for Han Fei, and at the same time as booking the ticket, he also invited Han Fei to dinner again. Because the ticket he booked for Han Fei was a night flight. Thank you for saving me today. After sitting at the table, Enran smiled and spoke to Han Fei. Didn't they all say thank you? Han Fei said very casually. That's what I said, but if it weren't for you today, I'd be miserable. Enran shook his head, a very good-looking smile hung on the corner of his mouth, and his eyes fell on Han Fei's body completely. Every girl has a dream of being a hero and saving beauty. Although Han Fei was very young, she was indeed really grateful to Han Fei today. For the person who wants to arrest her today, she knows who the other party is. The famous little overlord in the capital. Once caught by such a person, the end will inevitably be miserable. In addition, while being grateful, in fact, Enran at this moment was also very curious about Han Fei. From the mouth of the police, she also knew Han Fei's identity. The crown prince of the Han family. A guy whose reputation is not much better than the little overlord of the Huang family. In the capital, there has always been a saying that the demon king of the mixed world is called. It stands to reason that such a person would not do anything heroic to save the beauty, and it is said that although Han Fei is the son of Han Shaoshan, the god of war, he actually has no strength, just a waste wood. No, today Han Fei showed very amazing combat effectiveness. At that time, Enran clearly found that several of the Huang family's little overlords' doglegs should be from the guard company, or retired special forces or something, and their strength was very powerful. Ordinary people can't deal with it at all, but Han Fei easily solved them. With such strength, where is what waste wood? Han Fei was suddenly silent. Half an hour later, Han Fei and Enran walked out of the restaurant, and then Han Fei refused to send him to the airport with Enran, beckoned a car, and then disappeared from Enran's sight. What a strange person. Enran saw the taxi leaving, and his eyes were full of puzzlement. Didn't you say that the prince of the Han family was a playboy? He likes beautiful women very much. Why, he doesn't seem to want to stay with me at all. I'm so unattractive to him? Enran's heart was really full of doubts at this moment. Han Fei ignored Enran's doubts, he just did it casually to save Enran, and he didn't want to do anything to Enran. He left the restaurant and took a taxi straight to the airport. Then, at 11 o'clock in the evening, Han Fei's plane arrived in Nanjing, and after arriving in Nanjing, as soon as he walked out of the airport, Han Fei saw a military vehicle. After seeing the military vehicle, Han Fei frowned slightly, and then walked towards the military vehicle. After walking to the location of the military vehicle, he saw a person who was familiar to Han Fei standing next to the military vehicle. He Weidong. The person standing next to the military vehicle turned out to be He Weidong. Uncle. After seeing He Weidong, Han Fei was not the slightest surprised, and immediately opened his mouth to He Weidong. Yes, uncle. Han Fei didn't shout anything at this moment. Because, according to the memories of this life, Han Fei found out that He Chengguang's grandfather in this life was actually his grandfather, and his mother was He Weidong's sister. I have to say that this is a very incredible thing. You must know that in her previous life, her mother was a real orphan, and there was no such thing as a mother's family. But compared to crossing, such a thing is nothing. As for why his mother is not surnamed He, but surnamed Xiao, it is because her mother is not born to the He family, but an adopted daughter. In addition, although his grandfather was still in the southeast military region in this life, he was not a deputy commander, but a commander, and not with the rank of lieutenant general, but a general. It is too normal for a person who can be a family member with the second leader to become a commander with the rank of general. As for why He Weidong is in this place, Han Fei felt that it was his mother who informed him to pick him up. Xiaofei, I haven't seen you for a while, you are getting more and more handsome. He Weidong patted Han Fei's shoulder with his hand. Han Fei smiled and didn't say anything. Let's go, get in the car. Chengguang heard that you were coming, but I am very happy, this will still be waiting for you at home. He Weidong said to Han Fei and opened the car door. Dozens of minutes later, Han Fei and He Weidong came to the military villa of the southeast military region. As soon as he entered one of the villas, A young man who looked very similar to Yu Weidong quickly greeted Han Fei. "Cousin." The young man called out to Han Fei. This young man also looked like he was 14 or 15 years old, not much younger than Han Fei. "Morning light." Han Fei thumped He Chengguang's mouth with his hand. With Han Fei like this, He Chengguang's face was obviously stunned. Because in his memory, this cousin has always been in love with him. And when He Chengguang was stunned, Han Fei at this time was actually spinning his thoughts in his heart. According to the story, He Chengguang's age should be 8 years old, but now he is about the same as himself. I have to say that this time and space have changed a lot with his arrival. Following, Han Fei rejected the idea of going out with He Chengguang, and walked out of the military villa alone. After walking out of the villa of the military region, Han Fei went to the hotel where Fan Tinlei's wife was located for the first time. Found the whereabouts of Fan Tinlei's son Benben. Since the task requirement of the system is to let him rescue Benben, as long as Benben finds Benben before Benben has an accident, he will naturally be able to respond to all changes with no change. Moreover, the requirement of the system is to kill the terrorist leader of this operation with his bare hands. That is, he can't hide and snipe these terrorists. In this way, the best thing to do is to get involved. Under Han Fei's actions, he soon came to the hotel belonging to Fan Tinlei's wife. System, I'm going to turn on radar location scanning. After Han Fei came to the hotel, he secretly ordered the system as soon as possible. Ding, it takes 500,000 yuan to open it once to do positioning scanning, and it takes 50 million yuan to open it permanently. The mechanical voice of the system came into Han Fei's mind. If I say it's permanently open, can you help me open it permanently? Han Fei pouted and said angrily. No, the host's total assets now are 3,861,405 yuan and 5 jiao, the system said. That's it, don't ask me such stupid questions in the future, give me a one-time turn. Han Fei said, although he had to make money recently in the imperial capital because of the medicinal bath every day, he didn't make money like crazy, so he didn't have much money. Ding, the host spent 500,000 yuan to turn on the radar positioning and scanning system at one time, which lasted for 24 hours. The mechanical voice of the system sounded closely, and as the voice sounded, Han Fei suddenly found that the radar map scan had once again appeared in his mind. With the appearance of this map, Han Fei immediately used the map to easily find Benben. After finding Benben, I saw that Benben was wearing a t-shirt on his upper body, wearing a denim vest, and a denim library on his lower body, only 7 or 8 years old, looking a little handsome. At this time, he was sitting on a sofa in the lounge area of the hotel lobby, holding a handheld game console in his hand. After Han Fei saw this situation, he only took a slight look, then ran to the bathroom of the hotel to use a toilet, and then walked out of the hotel. After walking out of the hotel, he went to a milk tea shop not far from the hotel, ordered a cup of milk tea, and then, while drinking milk tea, he used the radar system to scan the surrounding situation to confirm whether there were terrorists around. In Han Fei's display, there are no red targets around at this moment, which means that there are no militants lurking. Under Han Fei's attention, 10 minutes later, I saw Benben follow a mature and strong aura of a beautiful young woman, out of the hotel. After they walked out of the hotel, soon there was a parking brother, drove a BMW and parked in front of the beautiful young woman, and then handed over the car keys to the beautiful young woman. The beautiful young woman took the key, and then ran into the car with Ben. Han Fei frowned when he saw this, and then walked out of the hotel without hurrying or slow, and then rode a racing bicycle and easily followed. With the radar map there, he is not afraid of anything with the beautiful young woman. In such a situation, they followed all the way, and they finally came to a playground. It turned out that Fan Tinlei's wife was going to take Benben to have a good time today. When he came to the playground, Han Fei casually locked the bicycle, and then stepped into the playground as well. Then, next, Han Fei will either play the same game with Benben, or he will be not far from Benben. Anyway, no matter what, Han Fei will ensure that he can participate in it as soon as possible. In such a situation, in the blink of an eye, more than 3 hours passed. Then Benben's mother was about to take Benben to dinner, and just as they were about to go to dinner, Han Fei, who had also finished playing, suddenly flashed in his eyes. According to the system scan, many red dots were quickly approaching their location, so Han Fei quietly approached Benben, and when he got close to Benben, he looked like he was walking very fast, and knocked Benben to the ground all at once. Oops! Ben Ben fell to the ground and let out a cry of pain. I'm sorry, are you okay? And when Ben Ben fell to the ground, Han Fei looked like he was in trouble, and hurriedly helped Ben Ben up. I'm fine. After Ben Ben stood up, he shook his head at Han Fei. Auntie, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Seeing Ben Ben shaking his head, Han Fei then said apologetically to Ben Ben's mother. It's okay, just walk carefully in the future. After Ben Ben's mother looked at Ben Ben and made sure that Ben Ben was fine, she said to Han Fei with a smile. And almost as they were talking, Han Fei secretly said in his heart. I saw that a group of gun-wielding terrorists suddenly rushed in from the outside, and then directly locked Ben Ben and Ben Ben's mother. Looking at their appearance, it is obvious that they are coming for them. A few minutes later, Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade. What are you talking about? Damn, it must be my enemies. I've offended too many people over the years, and I don't know who did it. Fan Tinlei's face changed greatly, and then he immediately arranged people to prepare for the mission to rescue Ben Ben and his wife. Lay down your arms and surrender, you are all surrounded. A large number of police cars surrounded an amusement park, and at this time, a policeman was shouting into the playground. I saw that inside the playground, there were many armed men with guns, and they were controlling many hostages with guns. At the same time, one of them, a middle-aged man with blonde hair and a grimace painted on his face, holding an AK-47 in his left hand on the neck of Ben Ben's mother, looked coldly at the policeman outside. His face was full of sneers. He used Ben Ben's mother's body to block in front of him to prevent himself from being sniped. What about the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade? What? The people from the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade, haven't they come yet? The blonde man shouted at the policeman outside while holding his mother hostage. His voice was cold, revealing endless killing intent. The blonde man was called Jack. He was a subordinate of the Scorpion who was sniped by Han Fei not long ago. The reason why he kidnapped Ben Ben and the others this time was because he wanted to avenge the Scorpion. Originally, he could snipe Fan Tinlei's wife without attracting the attention of the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade. But he wasn't prepared to do that, because he wants to make the people of the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade regret it. He wants them to know the price of offending these mercenaries, and he wants those people to see with their own eyes how he killed Fan Tinlei's wife. Let them regret from the bottom of their hearts, fear from the bottom of their hearts, and hate them. Originally, in this operation, he was also going to arrest He Weidong's son He Chengguang, and according to the investigation, He Chengguang was also arrested by the grandson of the commander of the Southeast Military Region. However, during the school vacation recently, He Chengguang did not go out these days, but stayed in the Southeast Military Region. Although Jack is very confident in his strength, he has no confidence that he can break into the Southeast Military Region and directly capture He Chengguang. So he could only temporarily target Fan Tinlei. However, today was a real surprise. Although he failed to catch He Chengguang, he did catch Han Fei. As for Jack, who had specialized in investigating the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade and had investigated the Southeast Military Region, he knew that he had caught a big fish this time when he saw Han Fei for a moment. This is the grandson of the commander of the Southeastern Military District. At the same time, he was still the prince of the Han family. This is the grandson of the second chief of the country. With this guy, he has a lot of confidence in whether he can leave safely after this revenge. This kid is a talisman. As for killing this kid, although he really wanted to do it, he also knew that now in the territory of the Republic, once he really did that, he would definitely not be able to leave here again. So he suppressed his thoughts and just controlled Han Fei. Yes, control. I saw that Han Fei and Ben Ben were pointed at guns by two militants respectively. In this case, Ben Ben's face was obviously afraid, and Han Fei also made a frightened expression, but his heart was spinning his thoughts rapidly. He deliberately let these people catch him, otherwise he would have left in the moment they rushed up. The reason why he didn't resist was because these people all had guys in their hands, and if they made a rash move, there would inevitably be big problems and the mission would fail, and in addition, he was also ready to get close to Jack in this way. He's going to be waiting for his chance. Following Jack's words, a group of people quickly came to the outside of the amusement park, and then these people quickly set up, and one of them came here in an instant. They are all members of the Langya Special Task Force. When they arrived, they saw that the pupils of two of the team members had shrunk suddenly. Fan Tinlei and He Weidong. Xiao Fei was also hijacked, He Weidong said in a deep voice. Falcon, do you know another teenager who was kidnapped by bandits? Guo Ping'an, who was beside He Huaidong, said suddenly. His name is Han Fei, and he is my nephew, He Huaidong. Your nephew? Guo Ping'an was stunned for a moment, and then his pupils contracted instantly. Are you talking about the kid of the old Han family? He Huaidong nodded. Damn, it's in big trouble, how could he be here? Guo Ping'an's face changed greatly. Xiao Fei just arrived at my house last night, Falcon Road. Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade, Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade, are you finally here? Fan Tinlei, who is Fan Tinlei? Stand up for me. Do you see that your wife is in my hands? Fan Tinlei, if you are a gentleman, stand up for me, otherwise I will immediately beat your wife to death, or kill your son. When Falcon and Guo Ping'an and the others were talking quickly, I saw Jack suddenly see the situation outside, a sneer suddenly appeared on his face, and then he said coldly. Don't. Fan Tinlei was shocked when he heard this, and immediately spoke, saying that he was about to stand out, but just as he was about to stand out, He Huaidong beside him grabbed him. Don't go out and die, He Huaidong said in a deep voice. He knew very well the tricks of these militants, and once Fan Tinlei stood up, those terrorists would inevitably shoot at the first opportunity. But they will not dare to act rashly because the other party has a hostage in their hands. Why don't you stand up? Do you think I won't dare to do it? I'm going to shoot your son. Seeing this, Jack frowned, and then copied AK-47 and ran towards it. With Jack like this, a chill flashed in Han Fei's heart, and he was about to burst out and kill. And almost at the moment when he was about to burst out, he saw that Jack suddenly aimed AK-47 at Han Fei again. Oh, Fan Tinlei, I suddenly don't want to kill your son again, because in addition to your son, I also have a big fish in my hand. Do you see? See this little ghost? He is the prince of the Han family. He is the grandson of your second chief. You say, if I shoot him to death, what will be the situation? Jack said with a smile. If you don't want him to die, stand up for me immediately. In addition, He Huaidong, who is He Huaidong? This kid should be your nephew. If you don't want him to die, stand up for me immediately. Quote. Don't kill me, don't shoot, uncle save me, I don't want to die. You all save me. I am the prince of the Han family, and my grandfather is the second chief, please save me. With Jack's words, I saw Han Fei's face suddenly change greatly, he looked frightened, and shouted in horror, and even more when he shouted, he struggled frantically. With Han Fei's situation, I saw that the surrounding Wolf-Tooth special forces had changed their faces from each other. They changed color because they knew Han Fei's identity, and because they looked down on Han Fei for such a situation. As a prince, it is so unbearable. This is simply a disgrace to the old Han family. Waste. Save me, I order you to save me. Han Fei shouted loudly, looking like he didn't know how pus-filled he was when he behaved like this. Yes, that's it, ha 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 ha. As Han Fei shouted, I saw Jack laughing loudly, looking very happy. Then, he motioned to hold Han Fei's subordinates hostage, brought Han Fei to him, and after Han Fei brought him to his side, he handed Fan Tinlei's wife over to the subordinates next to him, and then held Han Fei hostage himself. Fan Tinlei, He Huaidong and Guo Ping'an, have you all seen it? Have you seen the prince of the Han family in my hands? It was you who killed my eldest brother Scorpion. I want you to pay a heavy price for your actions. Now, get and stand up for me, or I'll shoot this little ghost right away. After Jack held Han Fei hostage, he spoke coldly, his voice was extremely cold and full of evil. With Jack like this, Fan Tinlei, He Huaidong and Guo Ping'an's faces changed greatly. Let's not say that Han Fei is He Huaidong's nephew, let's just say that Han Fei is the identity of the prince of the Han family. Once Han Fei really has an accident here, then the matter will inevitably be a big deal. All of them, along with the entire Wolf-Tooth Brigade, are bound to suffer. And when Guo Ping'an and the others were ugly, at this time in Kyoto, Han Shaoshan suddenly learned about his son's abduction. What are you talking about? The stinky boy was held hostage by the militants. Han Shaoshan was shocked. And with the shock, the brow on his back furrowed. Since Han Fei returned home, he clearly saw Han Fei's strength, which was improving by leaps and bounds every day. In Han Fei's situation, it stands to reason that he shouldn't be easily hijacked. What's the matter with this stinky boy? Han Shaoshan frowned. While frowning, his heart was full of doubts, and at the same time, he was also worried. He Huaidong, Fan Tinlei and Guo Ping'an glanced at each other. Then I wanted to stand up. Kill it, waste prince like that, you killed it and just saved food. I know you, your name is Jack, you are a subordinate of the Scorpion. If you kill Han Fei and kill these hostages in front of you, you will definitely die here. This is the Celestial Empire. This is the territory of our China, and we are the special forces of the Celestial Empire. Although it is our duty to protect the people, but we will never compromise easily with the terrorists. If you want to get out of the Celestial Empire alive, it's best to let Han Fei go immediately. If you do this, as long as you get out of the border immediately, I can spare your dog's life. The brothers told these guys in front of them what our Wolf's Tooth slogan was. Just when He Weidong was about to stand out, suddenly another group of people came to the playground, and then saw the leader of the team take over the shouting radio of the police with his hand, and said loudly to Jack. The person who shouted was the high school team of Lone Wolf Group B. A tooth for a tooth, blood for a blood. The surrounding Wolf Tooth special forces roared loudly. You think you can scare me? Said Jack, frowning. I'm going to kill the little imp. You kill. The high school team said coldly. With the high school team like this, Jack's face became very ugly. Although he wanted to avenge the Scorpion, he didn't want to rashly give his life and the lives of these brothers around him. So, of course he didn't dare to shoot Han Fei. Kill that imp next to me. However, although he didn't dare to kill Han Fei, he dared to do it to the others, and suddenly opened his mouth to the mercenary who was holding Ben hostage. With his words, the armed men who were holding Ben hostage were about to make a move. Bang! But before the militant could make a move, the gun rang out, and a sniper bullet suddenly passed through the head of the terrorist who was holding him hostage, and shot him in the head. Damn it! Jack's face changed drastically, and he cursed fiercely. He didn't expect that these Wolf-Tooth special forces would dare to do it when they had hostages. Concealment. At the same time that Jack's face changed drastically, he immediately opened his mouth to the militants next to him, and at the same time, he also shot at the high school team and others. Instantly, there was a burst of gunfire. At the same time as the gunshots were loud, Han Fei was also a certain surprise, and at the same time, the cold light in his eyes also flashed, and his left foot stomped down heavily, and it actually stepped on Jack's feet, making Jack exhale in pain, and subconsciously let go of Han Fei and almost let go for a moment. Iron Mountain. In the moment when Jack let go of Han Fei, the 8-pole punch killing move was unleashed by Han Fei, and it hit Jack's body hard. Just one collision made Jack's pupils contract, open his mouth and spurt blood, and then, without waiting for him to do anything to resist, Han Fei turned around all of a sudden. Split the palm. A slash of the palm slashed at Jack's head, killing him instantly, and killing him instantly. Han Fei's actions were so fast that the militants on the side couldn't react. Jack. Then, the next second of exclamation, some militants reacted and shot at Han Fei in an instant, and in the moment when these people shot, Han Fei quickly blocked the body of Jack he killed in front of him, completely blocked all the bullets, and at the same time, grabbed the AK-47 in Jack's hand and shot one after another. Bang bang. A series of strafing shots rang out, and in the blink of an eye, the 5 terrorists all died in Han Fei's hands, and at the same time as Han Fei, the terrorist who held Fan Tinlei's wife hostage was also shot in the head by He Weidong. In this way, all terrorists were killed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for completing the task. May I ask if the host will withdraw the task reward immediately? The system's mechanical voice came into Han Fei's mind. Extract later. Han Fei replied in a deep voice. When Han Fei was talking to the system, he saw He Weidong and the others also rushing towards this place quickly. Xiaofei, it's okay. After He Weidong came to Han Fei's side, he said to Han Fei. It's fine. Han Fei shook his head, and then handed the AK-47 to He Weidong. He Weidong casually took the AK-47 in his hand, then handed it over to a special soldier who followed him on the side, and then patted Han Fei on the shoulder with his hand. And when they were like this, they saw Guo Ping'an and others cleaning up the scene, while quickly checking the surrounding situation to determine whether there were other terrorists lurking in the surrounding area. At the same time, many special forces subconsciously walked in front of Jack, who was slashed to death by Han Fei. Good guy, one hit will kill, this palm is good. It's amazing indeed. Han Fei, I didn't expect us to meet for the second time so soon. Just now I said that you were a waste, it was not my intention. The high school team suddenly walked to Han Fei's side, and then said to Han Fei. I know you're doing it expediently. Han Fei shook his head, and then said to He Weidong on the side, Uncle, if there is nothing else, I will go back first. I'll give it to you. He Huaidong said. No need uncle, I'll just go back by myself. Han Fei shook his head, and then walked out of the playground, and as he did this, many special forces and police officers subconsciously looked at him. Today's scene really surprised them. Just now, Han Fei was shouting and screaming at first, and they all thought that Han Fei was a waste, puss. But he didn't want to, and in the blink of an eye, Han Fei actually shot to kill the terrorist leader of this operation. Not only does it show amazing hand-to-hand combat ability, but at the same time, its marksmanship is also amazing. After Han Fei left the playground, he rode his mountain bike to the nearest park, and he wanted to walk around. And when Han Fei was like this, Han Shaoshan, who had been paying close attention to Han Fei's situation since he learned that Han Fei was being kidnapped, also learned about Han Fei. Good boy, it is really a great improvement in strength, and in addition, it is really worthy of my Han Shaoshan's son, showing weakness to the enemy, and then breaking out and killing people. It's good, it's good. This is really a good material for being a soldier. It would be a pity if such a seedling didn't get it to become a soldier. Stinky boy. You don't want to escape of Wuji Mountain. When Han Shaoshan learned about Han Fei's murder, he clapped his hands and applauded. His face was full of red light. I've always been sad about my pus-filled son before, but I've thought of many ways to get his grandfather to order. And now, this stinky boy has changed all of a sudden. It just made him happy. When Han Shaoshan was even more determined to get Han Fei into the army. Actually, at this moment, there were other people who couldn't help but fight Han Fei's idea. For example, Fan Tinlei, Guo Ping'an and others. After they saw Han Fei's strength, they couldn't help but think that Han Fei had such strength at the age of 15, if he could pull Han Fei into the army, and then after some special training, how strong would his strength be? Although they felt that it was impossible for the second elder's grandson to become a soldier. But that doesn't have to be hopeless. After all, Han Fei's father, Han Shaoshan, can be called the god of war of soldiers, and he was also promoted step by step from a small soldier. Han Shaoshan can be a soldier, so Han Fei may not be impossible. Han Fei didn't know about these things, and if he did, he would definitely not have a good impression of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Force. He is now the grandson of the second elder, and he can definitely be regarded as the top *** of the Dragon Spirit Empire. With his current situation, what can't he do at ease? He really didn't want to be a soldier, not to mention being a particularly stupid soldier. Just like Fan Tinlei, although it is quite glorious and great, but, take this incident as an example, if it weren't for him Han Fei, according to the development of the story, Ben would have died this time. And not only will his own Fan Tinlei's son die because of this, but in the end, Fan Tinlei will divorce his wife. Everyone has a different view of being a soldier. Although Han Fei admires some people, it does not mean that he can tolerate others imposing their own will on him. Han Fei had a good day of playing, and only returned to the military compound in the evening. After returning here, my grandmother immediately pulled Han Fei and nagged her very much, and she was very concerned about Han Fei. He did not extract personal athletic training on this day, but prepared to wait for the day after tomorrow to extract this kind of training. Cousin, how did your strength become so powerful? I heard my father say that you killed a militant with a single palm yesterday. Haven't you always hated practicing martial arts before? With your palm power, is it possible that you have stepped into Mingjin? The next morning, Han Fei got up for morning exercises, and when he got up for morning exercises, He Chengguang also happened to get up for morning exercises, and then followed Han Fei for morning exercises, and in the process of morning exercises, He Chengguang couldn't help but ask Han Fei like this. The national art has bright and dark strength, and it is divided into Dan. Most ordinary martial artists may not be able to step into Mingjin in their lifetime, and even if they do, their age will inevitably be very large. At the age of 15, if you can step into the Mingjin level, you must be able to be regarded as a martial arts genius. Han Fei nodded at He Chengguang. He had indeed stepped into Mingjin. Recently he had been training every day, cooperating with the medicinal bath every day. It was not in vain. With the experience of his previous life, it was not difficult for him to step into this step. After all, in his previous life, he was a martial arts master at the peak of the transformation realm, and he was only half a step away from the so-called Baodan realm. Cousin, you're amazing. I haven't even figured out the way yet. He Chengguang heard Han Fei's answer, and immediately said with emotion. With your foundation, it's not that hard to get to this point. Han Fei shook his head and said. That's what I said, but I don't know when I'll be able to reach Mingjin. By the way, cousin, you faced so many terrorists yesterday, are you afraid? He Chengguang smiled, and then changed his words, looking at Han Fei curiously. I'm afraid. Han Fei said without hesitation. Since you're afraid, then cousin, how can you still be so fierce? He Chengguang was stunned for a moment, and then spoke curiously again. It's because I'm scared that I strike hard, Han Fei said. I don't understand. He Chengguang looked confused. People's desire to survive is very strong, when you don't want to die, when you have a strong belief. I'm afraid it will not affect your strength, but can make your strength 100%, or even 200%, Han Fei said. He didn't say this to fool He Chengguang or anything. In his previous life, he was a mercenary and was able to become a god of death, and the reason was because he was afraid. He was afraid that he would die before he could avenge his parents. Therefore, every time he makes a move, he is extremely sharp, cautious, and foolproof, so that he can live to the greatest extent, and also allows himself to rely on that belief in a desperate situation to explode his strength. Oh, He Chengguang responded as if he didn't understand. Time flies. Since Han Fei was sent to Nanjing and rescued Fan Tinlei's son Benben, Han Fei's life suddenly became dull. His father seemed to have forgotten about getting him into the army, and didn't mention letting him enter the army, but although he didn't mention letting him be a soldier, he didn't recall him from Nanjing, but really let Han Fei live in Nanjing, and earned his school status in Nanjing, so that he could go to high school in Nanjing. In such a situation, in a blink of an eye, before he knew it, Han Fei had only stayed in this world for 3 years. In the past 3 years, the system will release some tasks from time to time, except for a very few tasks. Han Fei chose to give up, and Han Fei has completed the tasks perfectly. In addition, Han Fei did not give up anything about his training. Every day of training is relentless and getting better every day. As he did this, He Chengguang, who was with him, was also influenced by Han Fei, and his training intensity was also increased. When 3 years have passed, He Chengguang has also stepped into Mingjin, and has also reached the middle stage of Mingjin. And when He Chengguang stepped into the middle stage of bright energy, Han Fei had already reached the level of dark energy at this time. In addition to these, Han Fei also has some friends in Nanjing. For example, Enron, for example, Lin Xiaoxiao. And when it comes to these two, Han Fei thinks they're quite dramatic. He knew Enran because he saved Enran in Beijing, so when Enran returned to the Southeast Military Region, he also contacted Han Fei from time to time, and often invited Han Fei to go out to play. As for Lin Xiaoxiao, because Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang are playmates, when Han Fei came here, he naturally met Lin Xiaoxiao. And not only did I get to know him, but the relationship is still very good now. After Lin Xiaoxiao learned about Han Fei's cousin from He Chengguang's mouth, she was very curious about Han Fei. At the age of 15, he can kill terrorists and rescue hostages under the hostage of terrorists, which is simply the hero in the heart of a girl, Prince Charming. Every girl has a heart of spring, and Lin Xiaoxiao is naturally no exception. So he took the initiative to contact Han Fei, and every time Han Fei and He Chengguang went out to play or something, they would inevitably follow along. Say, today Han Fei, Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang have all completed the college entrance examination and have filled in their own volunteers, and they are inviting each other to go out to play together at this time. Han Fei sat behind the bicycle that Lin Xiaoxiao was riding, holding Lin Xiaoxiao's waist with both hands. Brother Fei, why don't you ride by yourself every time you come out? You squeeze me like this every time, let me ride. Lin Xiaoxiao, who was wearing a white sportswear, looked very innocent, and had a standard melon seed face. While riding, he said to Han Fei behind him. Isn't this exercising your body? Han Fei smiled. No, you're lying. Lin Xiaoxiao said. Then what do you think I mean? Han Fei said. Lin Xiaoxiao blushed, embarrassed to say. She felt that Han Fei was interesting to her and wanted to be close to her, but she was also very interesting to Han Fei, but she had never been easy to confess, because she was afraid that if she spoke, she would be rejected. In addition, she also knew that Han Fei often got along with Enran, because she had seen Enran many times. It was a very beautiful woman, a woman who could give her a strong sense of crisis. Half an hour later, they came to a square. I saw that the square was very lively, and in the middle of the square, there was a shooting booth. The owner of the stall is a gangster-like man. When Han Fei brought Lin Xiaoxiao and the others here, Han Fei subconsciously frowned. Because the moment he saw the stall owner, he recognized who the other party was. Wang Yunbing. Seeing this, Han Fei subconsciously prepared to leave. However, Lin Xiaoxiao was more interested in the prizes of the shooting booth, so he pulled Han Fei and He Chengguang over as soon as possible. Seeing this, Han Fei didn't leave anything. Ding! The system mission is released. Please remove the 4-time bombs placed by the terrorists in Times Square. Find out the terrorists hidden in the surrounding area, kill them, complete the mission, and reward a personal competitive training. The mechanical voice of the system came into Han Fei's mind. Almost at the moment when Han Fei chose to stay, the system suddenly released a mission. There's a bomb. Han Fei was stunned for a moment when he heard the system's words, and then immediately reacted, and secretly asked the system in his heart, "Is the bomb you said a real bomb or a fake bomb?" The reason why he asked that was because he suddenly thought of a plot in the story. Since there are Wang Yunbing, Lin Xiaoxiao, and He Chengguang in this square at this time, then it is very likely that Fan Tinlei will be the pitman to conduct the so-called selection test. What a bomb! The system said. Activate radar scanning for me. With the words of the system, Han Fei suddenly didn't dare to be careless, and activated the radar system as soon as possible. Now that he has been in this world for 3 years, although it is more expensive to buy a radar system permanently, Han Fei already has the money to buy it. During these 3 years, he did not waste his youth. Since he was sent to Nanjing by his father, he also knew very well that Comrade Han Shaoshan would not allow him to ask for money from his family, and he would definitely try all kinds of ways to compromise himself. So in those 3 years, he wrote a lot of songs, as well as a lot of movie scripts. Then I used the money I made from the songs to hire directors, actors, and so on to make movies. Take the Crazy Stones, for example. Another example is Thai Embarrassment. Kung Fu. Journey to the West. Anyway, as long as it was profitable in his previous life and could shoot a movie in a short time, Han Fei asked people to help him shoot it for the first time. Under his actions, he naturally gained a lot in 3 years. This is because he is lazy and has been hiding behind the scenes, otherwise, he really wants to make money, and he can earn more. After all, the way to make money is not just to write songs and movies, but also to some other industries. After all, this world is different from the previous life, and many of the things that were in the previous life are not here. As Han Fei turned on the radar map scanning, Han Fei's brows were furrowed, because he found that as soon as the map was opened, there were really terrorists hidden around the square, and many red dots appeared on the map. Moreover, not only does the square have red dots, but also the buildings around the square. Many are on top of buildings. Sniper. After Han Fei found some red dots in the building, a cold feeling flashed in his heart. What are these terrorists going to do? Even if the bombs were planted, snipers were planted in the surrounding buildings. Is this the rhythm of going against the police, uncle? At this moment, Han Fei was very emotional, feeling that this world is worthy of being a world of special forces, and there are so many terrorist acts. And when Han Fei sighed, He Chengguang and Lin Xiaoxiao didn't know that they were already in danger at this time. After Lin Xiaoxiao pulled Han Fei to the stall, he then paid for Wang Yunbing to buy 3 shots. Brother Xiaofei, I want those prizes, you can help me win them all. After Lin Xiaoxiao bought 3 shooting opportunities, he took the airgun on the side and said to Han Fei. Wang Yunbing's stall was set up to make money under the guise of shooting balloons and winning big prizes. Balloons are large and small, with the largest balloon in the rearmost row and the smallest balloon on top. It is impossible for the average person to shoot the topmost balloon. To get the jackpot, you have to hit the top balloon. Therefore, people who buy a shooting opportunity to shoot will subconsciously shoot the balloon at the front, and then, naturally, it is a waste of money. Moreover, when you encounter some pit vendors, you will even be able to manipulate the airgun, making the chance of hitting smaller against. This is too low tech, shoot yourself. Han Fei glanced at Lin Xiaoxiao's sibling's gun, and then said with a smile, looking very disdainful. As Han Fei was like this, Wang Yunbing, who was shouting not far away to see if there was anyone else buying a shooting opportunity, frowned when he heard this. He has been playing this since he was a child, and some people even say that his technical content is too low. This made him very uncomfortable, and he only felt that his blood pressure suddenly rose a little. These words made him feel insulted and provoked to a certain extent. No, brother Feifei, you can help me shoot, I want you to help me win back the prize. Lin Xiaoxiao coquettished Han Fei, holding Han Fei's arm with both hands and shaking. Cousin, you can help Xiaoxiao shoot. Seeing this situation, He Chengguang on the side winked at Han Fei with a smile on his face, and then spoke. He and Lin Xiaoxiao have played together since childhood, and it is no problem to say that they are childhood sweethearts. He knows Lin Xiaoxiao very well, and has always regarded Lin Xiaoxiao as a sister. Therefore, when Lin Xiaoxiao was thinking about Han Fei, He Chengguang saw such a thing. Especially in the past 3 years, Lin Xiaoxiao has asked Han Fei to play under various excuses, and he is bored to find his cousin, and he knows that Xiaoxiao likes his cousin, so he usually creates opportunities for Lin Xiaoxiao, and Lin Xiaoxiao has specially asked him to create opportunities in private, so he is still more interested in helping Lin Xiaoxiao or something. In his heart, his cousin is very powerful. If Xiaoxiao can be with his cousin, he must be able to be happy. Although he had heard that his cousin was very attentive before, as he got along for the past 3 years, he clearly found that his cousin was not a playboy at all. At least, in the past 3 years, he hasn't seen him fool around, and not only did he not fool around anything, but he also found that his cousin was not only good, but also very talented, and his cousin wrote songs and filmed movies, but he didn't hide anything from him. Following He Chengguang's words, Lin Xiaoxiao immediately gave He Chengguang an appreciative look. This is really too low tech. Xiaoxiao, I know your shooting level is also very good. Okay, you can shoot yourself. Let me see if you've made any progress lately, Han Fei said with a smile. That's it, The corners of Lin Xiaoxiao's mouth flashed with a beautiful arc, then nodded happily, then turned around and was about to shoot. Cut. I can't do it myself, just say that this technology content is too low. A disdainful muttering sound came from Wang Yunbing's mouth, and the look in his eyes that looked at Han Fei at this time was very unkind. Although he wants to make money, he doesn't like to be insulted by others for his hobby. I'm just stating a fact. Although Wang Yunbing muttered quietly, Han Fei still heard Wang Yunbing's words, so he spoke for the first time. Cut. Wang Yunbing pursed his lips. You don't believe it? Han Fei said. Of course I don't believe it, folks, elders, you all come to give me a comment, although my shooting booth is just a very ordinary stall, but do you think my stall is low tech? Wang Yunbing pouted, and then suddenly opened his mouth to shout at the people around him. This shot is a trick at all, I've never hit a jackpot. Yes, this is of the pit people at all. I don't think it's low. If it's low, what kind of food will this boss eat? Not low. The people who gathered over, all in the spirit of watching the excitement, opened their mouths one after another. Some complained about Wang Yunbing's shooting booth, and some whistled loudly and shouted for fear of not messing up. Do you hear it? The eyes of the villagers are bright, and even the villagers say that it is not low. Why do you say that my stall has no technical content? Your skills are not good. As the boss, I will not say anything about you, but your skills are not good, and you still look like I am very awesome. What kind of awesome are you? Although many people around him complained that Wang Yunbing was depressed, on the whole, the words of these people still made him very happy, and he immediately raised a little finger at Han Fei with a provocative look. Han Fei shook his head, then stepped forward and took the airgun from Lin Xiaoxiao's hand, and then didn't look at it. Bang bang bang. The airsoft bullets were ejected from the airsoft gun, and in the blink of an eye, the 3 topmost balloons exploded. This. Wang Yunbing's provocative face suddenly stiffened and became very ugly, and at the same time, the people around him also coaxed. Wow. Master, Super Master, this is. It's no wonder that people look down on such stalls, and when you look at it this way, it's really too low tech. If only I had that ability to shoot. Xiaoxiao takes the loot. After Han Fei shot 3 shots, he didn't shoot more, but casually put the gun on a shelf in front of him, and then said to Lin Xiaoxiao next to him. Well, Fei Fei. Lin Xiaoxiao nodded happily, and then ignored Wang Yunbing next to him, and ran to the prize area to get the prize. He took 3 prizes at once, and then returned to Han Fei's side, ready to go to other places with Han Fei and He Chengguang. Stop. Just as Lin Xiaoxiao, Han Fei and the others were about to leave, Wang Yunbing walked in front of Han Fei with an unhappy face, blocking Han Fei's way. What? Han Fei's eyes narrowed. Only one. Wang Yunbing tilted his head and spoke very unhappily. Why can we only take 1, but we fired 3 shots? He Chengguang on the side frowned. I'm only allowed to take 1 anyway. Wang Yunbing's unkind way. No, I'm going to take 3. Okay. Get out of the way. We don't have time to spend here with you, we have to go somewhere else to play. Lin Xiaoxiao pouted at Wang Yunbing, then held the prize in one hand and Han Fei's hand in the other and was about to leave. Stop. As soon as Wang Yunbing stretched out his left hand, he blocked Han Fei and Lin Xiaoxiao's way again. If you don't want to be beaten, just get out of the way. Han Fei frowned. Beaten? Me? Ha ha ha. Wang Yunbing laughed a few times, and then looked at Han Fei with disdain. Do you know who you are threatening? My name is Wang Yunbing. You go and inquire. This is the first time I have seen someone dare to threaten me. Han Fei shook his head and was ready to make a move. Jingle bell. And at this time, I saw Wang Yunbing's mobile phone suddenly ringing. With the sound of the mobile phone, Wang Yunbing took out the mobile phone from his trouser pocket very annoyingly. Who? After taking out his mobile phone, Wang Yunbing said angrily, because the mobile phone showed an unfamiliar number. I'm looking for Han Fei. The phone said. You made a mistake. Wang Yunbing frowned. He didn't know who it was at all. He replied directly and hung up the phone, then looked at Han Fei again, and was ready to continue to speak to Han Fei. Jingle bell. But just as he was about to speak again, his phone rang again. Who is it? Wang Yunbing was super unhappy. This time he didn't look at the phone, he directly connected the phone, and his tone was very unkind. I'm looking for Han Fei. The phone said. I said that you made a mistake. I don't have Han Fei here. Don't call. You're crazy. Wang Yunbing scolded angrily, and then prepared to hang up the phone again. Cousin, are you looking for you? And just as Wang Yunbing was about to hang up the phone, He Chengguang looked at Han Fei with a puzzled expression, and at the same time, Lin Xiaoxiao was too. What do you mean, you are Han Fei? Wang Yunbing heard this, and subconsciously looked at Han Fei. I don't want my phone to be dropped, so I hang up the phone. Han Fei glanced at Wang Yunbing, then took Xiaoxiao's hand and walked past Wang Yunbing to the side. He wasn't going to answer any phone calls at all. Needless to say, the phone must have been done by Fan Tinlei. He didn't understand, when did this Fan Tinlei actually hit his idea? Although he has often done tasks in the past 3 years, he has not done the tasks in the past 3 years, but all the tasks that will publicly expose his identity, he has not carried them out again in the past 3 years. Except for the time when he saved Fan Tinlei's son Benben, he has directly chosen to give up, and he has done some tasks that can kill the enemy behind the scenes. He didn't want to cooperate with Fan Tinlei to play any monkey tricks at all. And the most important thing is to defuse the real bomb. Where does he have that American time to waste? In the process of talking with Wang Yunbing just now, he had quickly deduced a set of plans, and the next step was to ensure the safety of He Chengguang and Lin Xiaoxiao. Stop. Seeing that Han Fei was about to leave again, Wang Yunbing didn't care about finding Han Fei's phone call, but it was actually on his mobile phone, and as soon as he hung up the phone, he stopped Han Fei again. To let Han Fei and the others leave like this, he was really unwilling. After all, his mess was smashed today by the guy called Han Fei in front of him. Get out. At this time, Han Fei was originally in a bad mood because he found that there were bombs and snipers around, and he guessed that Fan Tinlei was going to calculate himself, so he was even more unhappy, and in such a situation, Wang Yunbing was still pestering him like this, and suddenly a chill flashed in his eyes, and he suddenly let go of Lin Xiaoxiao's hand, his body spun, and with a whip leg, he pumped towards Wang Yunbing. Wang Yunbing's pupils shrank, and his hands immediately protected his body. Bang! Then, I saw Wang Yunbing being chopped out like a cannonball, and when he flew out, there was obviously blood overflowing from the corners of his mouth. HMPH. Han Fei snorted coldly, and then pulled Lin Xiaoxiao to walk again. Although he seemed to have injured Wang Yunbing, in fact, he had already shown mercy to his subordinates. Otherwise, with his current dark strength, he could kill Wang Yunbing on the spot with just this leg. Although Wang Yunbing has a good physique, and his perennial fighting strength is okay, the difference between him and a master like Han Fei is very big. And when Han Fei was like this, at the entrance of a shopping mall in the square at this time, Fan Tinlei was wearing a pair of sunglasses, wearing a military uniform and hiding behind a stone pillar, and he completely saw the scene of Han Fei splitting Wang Yunbing, and when he saw such a scene, his brows subconsciously frowned. As Han Fei guessed, Wang Yunbing's phone call just now was indeed made by Fan Tinlei, and his main purpose was also to test Han Fei. Now Fan Tinlei is already the chief of staff of the Lone Wolf Special Operations Team with the passage of 3 years, and he tried Han Fei to recruit Han Fei into the army. In addition, Wang Yunbing is also one of the targets he is preparing to recruit this time. I didn't want Han Fei in front of me to play cards completely out of common sense. Didn't answer the phone at all, didn't say anything, and injured Wang Yunbing in the leg like this. Such a situation made Fan Tinlei can't help but wonder if he was right or wrong to do this. However, immediately after that, he thought of something. He got a phone call not long ago. It was a call from Han Fei's father, and the purpose was to ask him to recruit Han Fei into the army. When he got this call, he was very surprised, and at the same time, there was also a certain surprise. Because Han Shaoshan's phone call coincided with his thoughts. As early as 3 years ago, after seeing Han Fei's actual combat ability and decisiveness in killing the enemy, he wanted to pull Han Fei into the army. But although he had an idea at the time, he also knew that Han Fei was still too young, and Han Fei's special identity was not realistic. But now that Han Fei has graduated from high school, and even Han Shaoshan has come back and offered him to let Han Fei into the army, he naturally won't have any worries. Although he didn't understand why Han Shaoshan asked him to get Han Fei into the army, but Han Shaoshan got Han Fei into the army. After all, Han Shaoshan is the commander of a military region in the imperial capital, and his subordinates control the Special Operations Force of the Eastern Excalibur. Chengguang, Xiaoxiao, wait for you two. After quickly pulling Lin Xiaoxiao away from Wang Yunbing's location, Han Fei opened his mouth to Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang, ready to tell them something. However, just as he spoke, he suddenly, nothing can stop you, you're yearning for freedom, your unbridled career, your heart has no worries about. A very unique ringtone rang suddenly, interrupting Han Fei's words at once, and with this situation, Han Fei frowned, then took out his mobile phone, and then saw an unfamiliar number. With this unfamiliar number, a cold light flashed in Han Fei's eyes. Who? Han Fei's cold light flashed at the same time, and he connected the phone. In the direction of your 7 o'clock, there's a bag with a bomb in it. As soon as the phone was connected, a muffled voice came from the other side of the phone. Neuropathy. Without waiting for the other party to finish speaking, Han Fei hung up the phone directly. Then he pulled Lin Xiaoxiao and He Chengguang again and continued to walk forward. This kid. Fan Tinlei, who was hiding behind the stone pillar, widened his eyes when he saw this. He was extremely stunned for Han Fei's situation. Then he immediately called again, but he found that he couldn't get through this time, because, I'm sorry that the mobile phone you dialed has been turned off, please dial later. In Fan Tinlei's astonishment, Han Fei took Lin Xiaoxiao to the location of the bicycle, and then quietly said to the two of them, Chengguang, take Xiaoxiao and leave here quickly, there is danger here. What's wrong? He Chengguang asked in a subconscious whisper. At the same time, Lin Xiaoxiao also looked at Han Fei with a puzzled expression. I just saw the reflection of the sniper scope, Han Fei said in a deep voice. With Han Fei's words, He Chengguang and Lin Xiaoxiao's faces changed greatly. Could it be that I made a mistake? Lin Xiaoxiao's face changed drastically, and he asked subconsciously. I trust my own judgment, Han Fei said. Then brother Feifei, let's get out of here quickly, and besides, call the police by the way, Lin Xiaoxiao said. Just leave, I have something to do. Han Fei shook his head. But, Lin Xiaoxiao opened her mouth. Okay, don't say anything, Chengguang, take Xiaoxiao out of here quickly. Han Fei interrupted Lin Xiaoxiao's words, and then said to He Chengguang on the side. Okay cousin, be careful yourself. He Chengguang nodded, as he had been with Han Fei for 3 years, although he didn't know how powerful his cousin was, but he also knew very well that his cousin was able to kill robbers 3 years ago, and after 3 years, his cousin's strength must be even more powerful. After all, every time I went to the barracks with my cousin to shoot targets, my cousin's results could easily surpass him. I'll be careful, don't say more, and leave quickly. Han Fei nodded, then urged again. He Chengguang and Lin Xiaoxiao responded, and then rode their cars towards the road they came from and left quickly. Phew. As Han Fei and He Chengguang left, Han Fei took a look in the direction where the two had left, and then prepared to quietly defuse the bomb, and just as he was about to do so, suddenly, a sound of breaking the air sounded. As the voice sounded, I saw a figure rushing towards him at a rapid speed, and at the same time rushing up, his body jumped up, and then smashed down on Han Fei's head with a tomahawk-style splitting leg. If you hit someone, you want to run, don't think about it. When this figure battle axe-style slashing leg to attack Han Fei, a voice with incomparably angry anger also came into Han Fei's ears. It turned out that the person who suddenly rushed up to make a move on Han Fei at this moment was Wang Yunbing. Han Fei's body moved slightly to the side, and he dodged Wang Yunbing's attack at once, and while dodging, Han Fei's eyes rolled, and he didn't fight back, but ran towards one place suddenly. Originally, according to the normal situation, if someone was so messing around, Han Fei would definitely not mind cleaning up the other party. But at this moment, with Wang Yunbing's move, Han Fei suddenly had a calculation. He was going to use Wang Yunbing's attack on him as a cover, and then defuse the 4 bombs in the square. With the radar map scanning and positioning, he had already determined the location of the bomb by this time. Don't run, stop. Seeing that Han Fei didn't accept his attack, he ran out to the side all of a sudden. Wang Yunbing's face was very ugly, and then he roared, and then he went up towards Han Fei again. Han Fei carried out various attacks, either punches or leg strikes. With them, many people around them subconsciously got out of the way, and at the same time, many stalls suffered. Was beaten away one after another by Wang Yunbing, or knocked to the ground. These 2 boys. Fan Tinlei, who has been paying attention to the situation, saw such a situation, his brows furrowed deeply. He was very disappointed, but although he was disappointed, he didn't go out, but just paid attention to the situation of the 2. Hide and chase. Occasionally, Han Fei would also backhand, so that Wang Yunbing would not continue to entangle, and deeply attracted the hatred. With them in this way, they soon came to a high platform. It's a makeshift stage that has been set up. There was a red cloth under the stage. Bang! After coming here, I saw that Han Fei suddenly guessed a certain mineral water bottle that had fallen to the ground, and his footsteps slipped, and as he did so, Wang Yunbing's eyes lit up, and then he kicked towards Han Fei. Then I saw Han Fei subconsciously block Wang Yunbing's attack with his hand, but he was still kicked out and suddenly got into the stage. When Han Fei was kicked under the stage, a cold color flashed in Han Fei's eyes, and he immediately locked a place under the stage, only to see a wooden board under the stage, obviously with a bundle of attachments. Sure enough, it's a bomb. After seeing such a situation, Han Fei's body jumped, and he picked up the bomb in his hand, and then looked at the time of the bomb, which showed that there were still 5 minutes left. Seeing this, Han Fei breathed a sigh of relief, since this bomb would not explode until 5 minutes later. Presumably the other causes should be similar. Then he checked the bomb slightly, quickly took out a tactical dagger, cut one of the wires, and eliminated the possibility of the bomb detonating itself, and then, throwing the bomb to the side, he turned on the phone. As he did this, turned off the ringer and vibration, and sent a text message to one of the phones. Immediately after Han Fei, he quickly walked out from under the stage. It takes less than a minute before and after. Walking out of the stage, I saw Wang Yunbing, standing not far from the stage. When he saw Han Fei coming out, he blew a strand of yellow hair that fell to his mouth, and looked at Han Fei extremely provocatively. Kid, isn't it very powerful that you made a sneak attack just now? Now you come again, garbage. Wang Yunbing said to Han Fei in a cold voice. I don't want to care about you too much, you really treat yourself like a dish. Han Fei glanced at Wang Yunbing, and then went straight to Wang Yunbing. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, the 2 fought together, and under Han Fei's backlash, they fought very well. Under Han Fei's control, there were even more things destroyed by the 2 of them, which made many people angry, and they all looked at Han Fei and Wang Yunbing angrily, while at the same time, Han Fei also took Wang Yunbing and continued to approach the other bombs. The 4 bombs in this square are set up in a relatively secret place. Under a makeshift stage, under the stone table where the square masters played chess. Children playing underneath the children's Trojan, and inside a trash can where the main flow area is located. It can be said that these 4 bombs, no matter which one of them exploded, would inevitably result in a large number of people dying under the bomb explosion. Except for the first bomb that was defused by Han Fei, the other 3 bombs can be said to be very difficult to dismantle. At least it is not easy to dismantle without alarming the terrorists. Therefore, in the battle with Wang Yunbing, Han Fei led Wang Yunbing to the location of the stone table, and then in the process of fighting, he suddenly seemed to have caught a glimpse of Wang Yunbing's flaw, knocked him to the ground, and at the same time knocked him to the ground. His body pounced, locked Wang Yunbing's arm joints, and rode on Wang Yunbing's body at once. Except the Han Fei said loudly to Wang Yunbing. Not convinced. Wang Yunbing roared angrily, and at the same time struggled frantically, but he couldn't struggle, and just as he was like this, Han Fei quietly approached Wang Yunbing's ear and whispered, "Look under the stone table, there's a bomb." Along with Han Fei's words, Wang Yunbing's body subconsciously shook, and then glanced under the stone table, because he was subdued by Han Fei next to the stone table. This glance, he suddenly saw the situation under the stone table. Underneath the stone table, a bundle of bomb-like things was clearly attached. Seeing this situation, his pupils subconsciously shrank, and he was about to shout. However, just as he was about to shout, Han Fei suddenly twisted the arm of the controlled Wang Yunbing, causing Wang Yunbing to scream miserably. "There will be terrorist snipers around here. If you don't want to die, you'd better not give me anything to scream. Besides, there is not only one bomb in this vicinity. Then, cooperate with me. Give me a chance to defuse the bomb." When Wang Yunbing screamed, Han Fei whispered to Wang Yunbing again. Han Fei's words can be regarded as taking risks, and the Adventure King has the consciousness to cooperate with him. After all, this guy has become a good special forces fighter in the end, no matter what he says in the story. In addition, even if Wang Yunbing did not cooperate, he was also sure to dismantle the bomb, but in that case, it would be more troublesome. "How do I know if you're lying to me?" Wang Yunbing's pupils contracted for a moment, and then replied in a low voice. "You can choose not to believe it," Han Fei said in a low voice. Wang Yunbing was stunned, and then said in a low voice, "Can you do it? This is a bomb, and it will explode if you dismantle it rashly. I don't want to go crazy with you." "Don't worry, I'm sure I'm not going to joke with my life," Han Fei said in a low voice. "I'll trust you once," Wang Yunbing said in a low voice. With Wang Yunbing like this, Han Fei suddenly spoke loudly again, "Are you convinced or not?" Serve, I obey," Wang Yunbing said. "HMPH. Han Fei snorted coldly, and then let go of Wang Yunbing's hand, but as soon as he let go of Wang Yunbing's hand, he saw that Wang Yunbing actually saw the opportunity, turned over and lifted Han Fei aside, and the direction where Han Fei fell happened to be inside the stone table. When Han Fei fell into the upper half of his body, Han Fei took the bomb off the stone table with lightning speed, and then rolled out from the other side of the stone table. Almost as soon as he got out, he saw Wang Yunbing step on the stone table, and then a hungry tiger pounced on Han Fei's body. And when Wang Yunbing pressed up, Han Fei quickly picked up the bomb from the stone table in his hand, and used Wang Yunbing's cover to quickly get into Wang Yunbing's clothes. He knew very well that all bombs must be placed by snipers, so the bombs must be defused quickly, and they must not stay long, otherwise they will arouse the suspicion of terrorists. Therefore, although the bomb was quickly removed from the stone table by him at this time, the self-detonation mechanism has not yet been lifted. What now? When Han Fei quickly slipped the bomb into Wang Yunbing's long coat, Wang Yunbing asked Han Fei in a nervous whisper. Although he hadn't seen it before, he had seen it on TV, and when the bomb was in his clothes, he could clearly perceive the sound of time beating. Ding, 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 ding. Don't worry, I looked at the time, there were more than 4 minutes left, and I ran to the location of the children's Trojan, Han Fei said in a low voice. As he spoke, he saw his body flip over, and lifted Wang Yunbing away, and when he opened it, he scolded, "Damn guy, you still dare to come, see if I don't kill you." When the words fell, he stood up from the ground, and when he stood up, Wang Yunbing also used his clothes to protect the main bomb from being seen by others, and ran towards the location of the children's wooden horse. Seeing this, Han Fei immediately chased after him. Soon they came to the location of the children's Trojan horse, only to see that when they came here, Han Fei caught up with Wang Yunbing, and then kicked Wang Yunbing into the area where the children's Trojan horse was located, and then pounced. Then the two scuffled, and after a while, Wang Yunbing ran out again, and then Han Fei caught up again, stumbling all the way to the location of the trash can, knocking over the trash can, and then Wang Yunbing got up from the ground and broke into the building not far away. Han Fei chased all the way, and in the end, disappeared from the sight of everyone who paid attention to this scene. The location of the bathroom, an isolated position, where Han Fei and Wang Yunbing were together. At this time, Han Fei was quickly taking out 3 bombs from Wang Yunbing's body, and then quickly checked them, and then used the tactical dagger to disarm the bomb's explosion mechanism one after another. Under such circumstances, Wang Yunbing was very nervous. He had the intention to run out and let Han Fei dismantle it alone, but Han Fei's speed was too fast, so he didn't have a chance to run out. However, fortunately, in the end, all 3 bombs were safely defused by Han Fei. "Okay, it's okay." After Han Fei defused the bomb, he said to Wang Yunbing. "Phew." Wang Yunbing let out a sigh of relief and sat down on the toilet. Today's scene is really exciting by Tainima. He had never imagined that he would be so great one day. "Who the hell are you? How do you know that there are bombs around here?" Wang Yunbing breathed a sigh of relief before then said to Han Fei. "Celestial Empire." Han Fei said. "Dizzy." Wang Yunbing's eyes widened, and then he changed the conversation. "What are we going to do next? What are these damn terrorists going to do? Not to mention the time bomb. There are even snipers. It's too rampant." "It's not just snipers. There are other terrorists hiding in the square." Han Fei shook his head and said, and just as he shook his head, Han Fei's brows furrowed, because he suddenly noticed from the radar map that there was a red dot moving quickly towards the location of the bathroom. It was 2 terrorists who came over. Seeing this, Han Fei's eyes turned cold, and then motioned to Wang Yunbing not to speak. As he asked Wang Yunbing not to speak, he saw 2 red dots running into the bathroom, and then a series of sounds of doors opening the door sounded. In the blink of an eye, the 2 of them came to where he and Wang Yunbing were, and then pulled the door hard to pull the door open, and almost at the moment when the door was opened, a terrorist with a gun came into Han Fei's sight. Phew. As soon as the terrorist appeared in Han Fei's sight, Han Fei suddenly shot out, and the tactical dagger in his hand wiped the terrorist's throat like a death scythe, and immediately blood gushed out, and the terrorist was whitewashed on the spot, and when the terrorist was whitewashed, he saw the tactical dagger in Han Fei's hand thrown out, and suddenly inserted into the eyebrows of a terrorist next to him who had not yet waited for him to shoot when he saw the situation. In this way, the 2 terrorists were killed on the spot. When Han Fei quickly killed the 2 terrorists, Wang Yunbing also walked out of the door, and when he walked out, his eyes widened when he saw the situation in the field. His face was full of disbelief. At this moment, he didn't understand what Han Fei was at all. Not to mention being able to have such a bomb disposal ability, the fighting ability is also so amazing. Obviously, this guy looks a little smaller than him. Such a situation made him very unconvinced. It seems that the situation just now seems reasonable, but it still aroused the idea of the terrorists. If nothing else, these 2 terrorists should have come to search for me and Wang Yunbing. Han Fei's eyes flashed coldly, and then he took out 2 guns and 2 tactical daggers from the terrorists' bodies, and then ignored the shocked Wang Yunbing on the side, and acted towards the door. He had to deal with some terrorists in the fastest time. "What are you going to do?" Wang Yunbing subconsciously said to Han Fei. "It's none of your business." Han Fei said. "You, unload the mill and kill the donkey. You." Han Fei. Wang Yunbing looked at Han Fei angrily, but Han Fei ignored Wang Yunbing at all, and ran out of the door at once, and then went up a staircase. His target was the top floor of the building. The building he is in now has 9 floors. As Han Fei ran out like this, Wang Yunbing's eyes flashed with anger, and then he ignored the corpse on the ground, and actually ran out of the door, and then chased after Han Fei. However, Han Fei's speed was too fast, and although Wang Yunbing gave full play to his maximum speed, as Han Fei ran with all his strength at this time, Wang Yunbing was completely unable to catch up with Han Fei. And Han Fei rushed all the way, and soon came to the top of the building. When he came here, he didn't have the slightest gasping and losing strength, and after he came here, he slowed down as soon as he came. Then carefully determined the location of the terrorists shown on the map, and quietly entered the roof of the building. After entering the rooftop, Han Fei then locked his eyes on the waterhouse built on the rooftop, and then quickly climbed up, and when he climbed up, he clearly saw a terrorist lying on it with a sniper rifle. Then Han Fei sneaked in and wiped it with a wave of the tactical dagger in his hand, easily killing him. Until he died, the terrorist didn't understand how he could have been killed like this. After Han Fei eliminated this sniper, he took the other party's sniper rifle, but instead of the terrorist, he lay on top of the water room and checked the sniper rifle in his hand. I saw that the sniper rifle in his hand was a WP. While doing a quick check, Han Fei also used the sight to observe the surrounding situation. First, according to the display of the radar map, he locked onto the snipers of the surrounding buildings, only to see that they were all paying attention to the bottom of the square at this time, obviously waiting for the time bomb to explode. Seeing this, Han Fei frowned slightly, and then shot decisively. Bang! A bullet was discharged, and the sniper in the building on the left was instantly killed, and at the same time that the sniper was killed, Han Fei instantly turned the muzzle of the gun and opened fire on the sniper on the other building. The bullet bounced out, and then, without exception, hit the target again before the opponent could react. And with two sounds in a row, I saw that the people in the square below were all subconsciously startled, not understanding what kind of sound it was. While these people were startled, the gunshots rang out again. Bang bang bang. Below the square, 3 disguised terrorists were killed by Han Fei. Almost at the moment when Han Fei did such a thing, he saw a large number of police cars pulling towards the sound of the alarm bell ringing, and with these sounds, Han Fei clearly found that a large number of police cars were speeding towards this place. At this moment, Han Fei found out according to the radar map that all the terrorists had been killed. At the same time, the sound of horror sounded, and many people in the square screamed at this moment. They didn't know what was going on with the sniping sound at the beginning, but as the 3 disguised terrorists were killed by Han Fei, and as the corpses fell to the ground, these people naturally knew what was going on. Someone is shooting. Dead man. Han Fei didn't pay attention to this, because the system told him that the task had been completed, as long as the task was completed, so he dropped the AWP and went into the water room. Then he called He Weidong. How is Xiao Fei? As soon as he got on the phone, He Weidong's voice came from the other side, and the reason why He Weidong asked this was because when Han Fei defused the bomb under the stage, the text message he sent was sent to He Weidong. He sent a message at the time to tell Mr. Ho about what had happened in Times Square. All the terrorists have been killed, and the 4 time bombs have been defused, Han Fei said. Are you sure they're all killed? Asked He Weidong Jungs. Well, 3 snipers, 5 disguised ordinary gunners, Han Fei said. Okay, I'll be there soon. He Weidong answered, then motioned to Han Fei not to run around, and then hung up the phone. It didn't take long to see a large number of police officers coming to the scene, and at the same time, 2 people came to the rooftop where Han Fei was for the first time. One of these 2 people is Fan Tinlei, and the other is Wang Yunbing. You fired the gun? After Fan Tinlei came to the rooftop, he saw Han Fei asking Han Fei in a deep voice. It's me. Han Fei said. You killed 3 ordinary people, Fan Tinlei said in a deep voice. They are not ordinary people, please investigate before drawing conclusions, Han Fei said. Really? Fan Tinlei narrowed his eyes. Han Fei didn't say anything more, just stayed on the rooftop, waiting for He Weidong's arrival. Soon the police came upstairs, and at the same time, He Weidong also came here. Then, Han Fei couldn't leave easily this time, but was taken to the police station. After all, this time he was not as the one who was taken hostage, but as the one who shot him. Without knowing whether the people he killed were terrorists or not, it was naturally impossible to easily let him go. This kid has made another move, this time the commotion is still so big, it's good, it's just a posture of throwing himself into the net. Stinky boy, you're going to plant it this time. The imperial capital Han Shaoshan learned about Han Fei's attack again, and when he learned about the situation, the corners of his mouth flashed a beautiful arc, which was very happy. As for whether the person Han Fei killed was a terrorist or not, he didn't suspect anything. Because he believed in Han Fei. Soon the results of the investigation came out, and the people killed by Han Fei were indeed terrorists. However, although the investigation came out, Han Fei still couldn't leave the police station as soon as possible, and at this time, he and Wang Yunbing were detained in a small room, and the 2 sat back to back in a chair with each other. Boy, you can do it. You killed 8 people at a young age, you can really do it. When you defused the bomb, I felt that you were very wrong, and now it seems that you are indeed very wrong. You are not a good person at all. Otherwise it would be impossible for the police uncle not to let you out. Wang Yunbing said to Han Fei angrily. Shut up. Han Fei said coldly, moving the chair to the place against the wall as he spoke, and looked at Wang Yunbing with an indifferent expression. Why, if you dare to do that, you don't dare to let me say it. Who do you think you are? Wang Yunbing said noncommittally, and as he spoke, he moved the chair and leaned towards the wall on the side. If you don't want to be beaten, shut me up, Han Fei said. Who's afraid of whom? It just so happens that our battle is not over just now, and this time I will definitely beat you all over the face. Wang Yunbing suddenly stood up from his position, and then looked at Han Fei with a strong impulse in his eyes. He really wanted to continue to work with Han Fei. Honestly, he is not convinced. He really didn't accept Han Fei. Why is this guy able to do such amazing things at a younger age than himself? Whether it is defusing bombs or killing people, it is not comparable to him. I don't know. Han Fei's eyes narrowed, and then he stood up from his position, ready to really teach Wang Yunbing some lessons, so that this guy knows what it means to have a sky outside the sky, there are people outside the world, and what it means to keep his mouth shut honestly if he has no ability. At this moment, Han Fei was very unhappy in his heart. The reason why he was unhappy was because when he completed the task, the next second he saw Fan Tinlei, he got a task from the system again. The task of the system this time is to let him participate in the Special Forces selection of the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade within 1 year to enter the Wolf-Tooth Special Operations Brigade, and require him to get the first place in each item in the selection process. And if you complete the system task this time, you will be rewarded with a universal longevity pill. When he learned about this task, Han Fei was subconsciously ready to refuse and give up the task directly. But when he saw the task reward, he couldn't help but ask the system, what is the Universal Life Enhancement Pill? The results. The system told him that the Universal Longevity Pill can increase the lifespan of the human body. One longevity pill can increase the lifespan by 20 years. 20 years. It's an absolutely amazing thing. It can not only increase the lifespan of the human body, but also have the function of curing diseases. No matter what kind of illness you have, you will be cured if you take this elixir. Knowing such a thing, Han Fei fell silent. Now that Grandpa is older, once such an elixir can be obtained, it is definitely very important to Grandpa's body. Grandpa was very good to him in his previous life, even if he neglected him in this life because of his grandfather's high position, but in his memory, he was still very good to him. Among all the juniors, he is the most favored. Otherwise, there are so many juniors in the Han family, and he would not be the only one who is called the Prince of the Han family. Therefore, such an elixir Han Fei is determined to get. However, although he was preparing to carry out the mission, Han Fei was still not ready to become a soldier. He would definitely participate in the selection, but he was not prepared to disobey Comrade Han Shaoshan and Fan Tinlei like this. He would just go through the motions at most. Because this mission has a loophole. The system only asked him to participate in the selection and enter the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade, not to let him become a soldier. Also, among the things that Han Fei knew, for ordinary people, special forces seem to be the most powerful branch of the army in a country. But in fact, in addition to this, there is also an existence that is above the special forces. For example, unstaffed troops. Another example is the 7 Kills group. In his previous life, when he was in the underground world, he fought against the country's 7 Kills group, which is very similar to the Dragon group in some YY novels, and is directly in charge of the country's Great Elder and Second Elder. Not only does it have a very amazing power, and except for some emergency appointments, I am usually very free, and I can do whatever I want. And also has a license to kill. Let's be honest. For the murder license, Han Fei was very excited. For example, if he had a murder license, he would have been invited to the police station. On the grounds that those people endangered national security, it was within their duty to shoot them down by themselves, and they could leave, without throwing them at the police. In addition, although ordinary people want to enter the 7 Kills group, it is very difficult. But Han Fei's strength is very good now, plus his grandfather is the Second Elder. He believes that as long as he goes to find his grandfather, then it will definitely not be a problem to enter the 7 Kills group, and he will definitely be able to pass the assessment of the 7 Kills group. For such reasons, Han Fei was even less interested in being a special soldier. However, Han Fei wanted to be at ease, so he hadn't thought about such a thing before. But with this incident, Han Fei found that as long as the system was still there, he would inevitably perform all kinds of tasks, although it seemed that he had not been exposed many times now, but sooner or later he would still show his feet. So instead of waiting for the time to be exposed, it's better to get a special identity now. In this way, he will not need to be tied up or anything when he does tasks or anything in the future. Of course, this is the consideration, but how to decide? Han Fei is also ready to think about it more, and he will not choose it lightly unless it is absolutely necessary. Bang 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 bang. A series of voices sounded, accompanied by Wang Yunbing's provocation. Han Fei directly shot at Wang Yunbing's side, and then a series of attacks bombarded up. Although he made a move, but in the spirit of anger, he still beat Wang Yunbing very embarrassed. When Han Fei rushed up, Wang Yunbing only came to remember to resist a few times, and then he could only be beaten passively. In the blink of an eye, he was beaten into a pig's head face and panda eyes. Stop. What happened between the two of them was so fast that the guards at the door didn't have time to react, and when the guards reacted, he shouted at Han Fei for the first time. HMPH. Han Fei snorted coldly, then stopped making a move, and as he stopped making a move, he saw that Wang Yunbing at this time was looking at Han Fei with great anger, his eyes full of dissatisfaction. Don't look at me with such eyes, if you are not convinced. Give me a good boost in strength. I welcome you to get the field back at any time. To show you the way, you can choose to become a soldier and learn the corresponding skills in the army. Han Fei glanced at Wang Yunbing, and then spoke indifferently. I remember you, Han Fei. I will definitely return today's events. Wang Yunbing said in a deep voice, and then there was no idiot to continue to provoke Han Fei, or do anything to Han Fei. From this wave of attacks, he has already felt the gap very clearly. Although he can fight, his fighting methods are only learned from various fights, and when he encounters a fighting master like Han Fei, his shots are full of flaws. Be a soldier. A scorching flame erupted in Wang Yunbing's heart. He wouldn't just leave it at that. You come out. Suddenly, a policeman came quickly, walked to the window of the room where Han Fei and Wang Yunbing were being held, and said to Han Fei. Seeing this, Han Fei walked out of the room with a step. Then, Han Fei was taken to an interrogation room by the police. When he came here, he saw a soldier in a PLA uniform standing in the room with his back to him. The corners of Han Fei's mouth suddenly flashed coldly, and then he pulled the chair in the room and sat on the chair. He wanted to see what these people were going to do. He knew very well that, under normal circumstances, the circumstances of the terrorists he had killed would have been investigated soon, and he should have left the police station a long time ago. But now, he is still being held here. In such a situation, he still didn't understand that someone was making a ghost. Han Fei. As Han Fei sat down on the chair, then he saw the soldier standing with his back to him, suddenly turned around, and as he turned around, his face suddenly met Han Fei's sight. Fan Tinlei. This man in military uniform is Fan Tinlei. Tell me, what is the purpose of you letting people detain me in this police station? Han Fei said indifferently to Fan Tinlei. Did you misunderstand something? Fan Tinlei looked at Han Fei with a puzzled look. Is it a misunderstanding? You know it in your heart. You must have called the phone in the square, and it was you who said there was a bomb, Han Fei said. You know? Fan Tinlei was stunned for a moment, and then asked in surprise. Of course I do. Han Fei said coldly. Fan Tinlei shook his head, and then said, although I told you that there was a bomb in the square, I just wanted to test your reaction at that time, and the bomb was fake. However, I don't want you to actually find the bomb and defuse it. To be honest, I am amazed and admired by your ability. But although I admire your ability, no matter what, you are just an ordinary citizen now. Even if you are the grandson of the second elder, you also have no law enforcement power. You shot and killed so many people rashly. Your problem is very. Snort. Don't take me for an idiot. You can't deceive me at all if you say this. I know very well that what I killed is a terrorist, even if I don't have the right to enforce the law, but as a citizen of the Dragon Spirit Empire, I also have the right to defend the motherland when I see a terrorist attack on my country by enemy and foreign forces. Han Fei sneered, and then spoke. Defend the rights of the motherland? Fan Tinlei glanced at Han Fei in surprise, and then his eyes lit up. Since Han Fei has such an awareness, then Han Fei, have you ever thought about becoming a soldier in the past? Why did you finally show your foxtail? Detaining me at the police station, that's probably your main purpose, Han Fei sneered. How do you know my intentions? Fan Tinlei was very puzzled. Although he tested Han Fei, according to the normal situation, it was impossible for Han Fei to know, and he wanted Han Fei to become a soldier. You don't need to know how I know. You just need to know that if I am going to be a soldier, it will never be. Han Fei said, and suddenly stood up from the chair. Okay. I don't have the heart to ink anything with you here. I'm going out. We'll let you out, but not now. I'm curious, why don't you want to be a soldier? As the grandson of the second elder, since you have the idea of defending the motherland, why don't you have the consciousness of being a soldier? What's so bad about being a soldier? Fan Tinlei frowned, and said to Han Fei with an extremely straight face. Being a soldier is sacred and glorious. In addition, your old Han family is a military family, whether it is the second elder or your father. They all went up step by step as soldiers, and they are all the best soldiers in the Dragon Spirit Empire. Don't you want to inherit the glory of your father? Don't you think your words are funny? Is there only one way to defend the motherland? The economy, the people's livelihood, that one is not also for the country. If no one is engaged in the economy, where will the country prosper? And if there are no peasants farming, what will you soldiers eat? I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in being a soldier, Han Fei said in a non-committal cold voice. Yes. With your physical fitness, if you are not a soldier, don't you feel that it is a waste? Fan Tinlei said. Wasting or not wasting is my business, and it has nothing to do with you, Han Fei said. Can't you think about it more? Fan Tinlei said. You really want me to be a soldier? Han Fei's eyes narrowed suddenly. Not bad, Fan Tinlei said. It's not impossible to give you a chance, as long as you can take my 10 moves, I'll be a soldier. Han Fei suddenly changed his words. Although he had just beaten Wang Yunbing and was out of breath, he was still holding his breath in his heart. I was very unhappy with this Fan Tinlei. You must know that he saved Fan Tinlei's son 3 years ago. That's how this guy repaid him. He actually ran to let him be a soldier. This can simply be described as ungrateful. In this way, if Fan Tinlei is not cleaned up, this Fan Tinlei really treats him Han Fei as a good bully. You're sure? With Han Fei's words, Fan Tinlei's eyes suddenly narrowed. Not bad, Han Fei said. Come on, Fan Tinlei said without hesitation. As he spoke, he walked over to the open space of the room and stood in the center. A sneer appeared on the corner of Han Fei's mouth, and then he greeted Fan Tinlei. Are you ready? After greeting him, Han Fei said to Fan Tinlei. Just shoot, Fan Tinlei said loudly. Although Han Fei's combat effectiveness was really good, Fan Tinlei didn't think that he couldn't win against Han Fei, let alone take 10 moves. He had a strong self-confidence at this moment, and he must be able to attack Han Fei in the next 10 moves. As soon as today passed, Han Fei would inevitably have to honestly follow him to become a soldier, but just thinking about it like this, he couldn't help but be happy. Kill. In the next second, Han Fei shot out with lightning, and in an instant, his body jumped vertically, and he slammed down towards Fan Tinlei with a tomahawk-like splitting leg. Its attack was extremely sharp and fast, causing Fan Tinlei's pupils to shrink suddenly, and he immediately used his hands to resist the attack. Bang! A roar sounded, and in the moment Fan Tinlei used his hands to resist Han Fei's attack, his face suddenly turned red, and then his body retreated uncontrollably, and he only felt that his 2 hands were about to break under this blow. Bang! And as Fan Tinlei's body retreated, he saw Han Fei's body spin, and a whirlwind split leg bombarded Fan Tinlei again, sending Fan Tinlei directly out. Then, without giving Fan Tinlei a chance to breathe, Han Fei rushed forward again. Crackle, crackle, crackle. A series of voices sounded. Fan Tinlei didn't even have the power to backhand under Han Fei's attack, and in the end, he was directly knocked unconscious by Han Fei in the interrogation room. Humph. Seeing that Fan Tinlei fainted, Han Fei snorted coldly. If it weren't for Fan Tinlei's selfishness to let him be a soldier, just because Fan Tinlei wanted to calculate his situation, this time it would not be as simple as fainting. With his dark strength, it was too easy for him to do something on Fan Tinlei's body. Half an hour later, Han Fei left the police station under the leadership of He Weidong. But after leaving the police station, He Weidong said to Han Fei while driving, Xiaofei, you did too much just now, how can you knock Tinlei unconscious? Uncle, after 3 years of getting along, you should know that I don't want to be a soldier, Han Fei said. Well, I know. He Weidong nodded. Since you know, then uncle, you have to understand, just my comrade Han Shaoshan calculated me. I was already very unhappy. In order not to be a soldier, he was sent to Nanjing, and now this Fan Tinlei also came to calculate me? He Weidong opened his mouth for a moment, and then said in a deep voice, but Xiaofei, you have to understand that both brother-in-law and Tinlei are for your good. They don't have any selfish motives, they just want you to be a soldier and let you serve the motherland. There are many ways to serve the motherland, and it's not just a soldier. I really hate being a soldier. Han Fei shook his head. Well, even if you don't want to be a soldier, I think it's hard not to be a soldier if you're afraid. To tell you the truth, my brother-in-law has called me many times in the past 3 years, asking me to find a way to let you go to the army, and also talk to your grandfather. He Weidong sighed suddenly and then said, I'm not going to do what he wants. Han Fei shook his head. Following, Han Fei suddenly received a phone call, which was from Han Shaoshan, asking him to go back to Beijing. After getting this call, Han Fei didn't ask for any reason and went back to Beijing. After returning to Beijing, Han Shaoshan asked Han Fei to go to his study as soon as possible. "Stinky boy, your temper is really getting bigger and bigger. In order not to be a soldier, you actually knocked out the chief of staff of the Lone Wolf Special Operations Team." After Han Fei followed Han Shaoshan to the study, Han Shaoshan said to Han Fei in a deep voice, "Are you just telling me something like this when you let me go home?" Han Fei glanced at Han Shaoshan and said indifferently, "Of course, it's not just that, but don't you think it's very wrong for you to do this?" Han Shaoshan said. "There's nothing wrong with that. Since he wants to calculate me, he naturally has to be prepared to be cleaned up by me," Han Fei said. Bang! Han Shaoshan slapped the table heavily. "You're still reasonable. Don't come to this set. I was not afraid of you 3 years ago, and I will naturally not be afraid of you 3 years later. Why, could it be that you were ready to continue to play tricks on me this time? 3 years ago, you sent me from Beijing to Nanjing. What are you going to do 3 years later?" Han Fei pursed his lips and said nonchalantly. Alas! Seeing Han Fei like this, Han Xiao sighed. In the past, he felt that his son was too punctuated, too weak, and had no manly spirit, but now he suddenly found that his son was not afraid of today, but he still gave him a headache. Changed to the former Han Fei, he asked Han Fei to be a soldier. Did Han Fei dare not go? But now, this guy is not afraid of himself at all. "You really don't want to be a soldier?" Han Shaoshan's eyes narrowed. "Of course," Han Fei said. "Then what are you training hard for every day?" Han Shaoshan said. "Get fit," Han Fei said. "It's a good fit, boy. I won't continue to sell with you. If you don't want to be a soldier, you can do it. Let's make a 10-trick appointment. If you can take my 10 moves, I won't let you be a soldier. Otherwise you will obediently give me a soldier," Han Shaoshan said. "I can take the initiative, right?" Han Fei's eyes narrowed, and then he looked at Han Shaoshan with a bright smile. "What's the matter? Do you still want to clean up like Fan Tinlei and I can't?" Han Shaoshan said loudly. "Don't dare." Han Fei shrugged, but the bright smile on his face said it all. Usually, of course, he doesn't dare to be disrespectful to him. But what about? If it's a competition, it's a competition. Don't you dare. In fact, you have long wanted to clean up your son, right? Han Shaoshan squinted at Han Fei. "Nope." Han Fei denied. "Okay. Don't pretend to be stupid for me. You can take the initiative, or that sentence. As long as you can withstand my 10 moves, then I will never let you be a soldier in the future," Han Shaoshan said loudly. "Let's go. Follow me to the outside yard," Han Shaoshan said, and was about to take Han Fei to the courtyard in front of the villa. "No, well." Han Fei touched his nose and spoke. "What's so bad? Why, don't you dare," Han Shaoshan said. "What if my mother sees me hurting you?" Han Fei said. "Tut tut. Just now I said that I didn't dare to clean up your son and me. Why, now I started to think about hurting me. Rest assured, with your 3-legged cat skills, you are not my match yet. Don't think that if you resisted my temptation 3 years ago, you really think that your strength is very poor." Han Shaoshan stopped and chuckled. "Of course not. I just think that if I hurt you, then once my mother sees it, I will have to face a crime that cannot be reversed," Han Fei said seriously. "Don't worry, I won't blame you for anything," Han Shaoshan pouted. Originally, he just wanted to let this kid know that there are people outside the world, and there is a truth outside the sky, but now, he has decided to teach this kid a good lesson. In just 3 years, this stinky boy is really ready to teach him a lesson as a father. It's just going to be anti-heaven. Don't let him know how powerful his old man is. This kid really won't be the slightest bit afraid. Saying that, Han Shaoshan walked towards the door again. Han Fei saw this. The corners of his mouth flashed with a beautiful arc, and he also followed. At this moment, the blood in his body couldn't help but boil. This time, I must let this unscrupulous father know that he is definitely not his pawn or anything. The two of them went one after the other, and soon came to the courtyard of the villa. After arriving here, the two stood opposite each other. And just when they were like this, Han Yao suddenly walked up curiously from the side. "Dad, Xiaofei, what are you going to do?" asked Han Yao with a puzzled expression. "It's okay. I'm going to give this stinky boy a few tips on Kung Fu," Han Shaoshan said. "Ah, Dad, you can't hurt Xiaofei." Han Yaojiao snorted, and then said to Han Shaoshan worriedly. "Don't worry, it won't hurt this stinky boy," Han Shaoshan said with a smile. Said, and then hooked his hand at Han Fei. "Come on, stinky boy, just let the horse come. Then be careful." The corners of Han Fei's mouth curved, and then his body suddenly rushed towards Han Shaoshan. Hades 3 nods. As soon as he went up, Han Fei unleashed the 8 extreme fist, and it was still one of the 8 major moves. When his figure rushed out, it was like thunder, and he attacked out with a terrible sonic boom. Huh? As soon as the so-called expert made a move, he knew that there was a wood, and almost at the moment when Han Fei made such an attack, Han Shaoshan's pupils shrank. Danger. At this moment, he clearly felt the danger from Han Fei's attack, which made his heart that he had originally despised Han Fei instantly retract. I thought that this stinky boy hadn't seen him for 3 years, and no matter how hard he practiced martial arts, his strength would not be high. I don't think it's only been 3 years, this kid. It has reached the level of dark energy. With such skills, in the eyes of ordinary people, he is definitely a martial arts master. Bang bang bang. While thinking like this in his heart, Han Shaoshan also quickly greeted him, spreading his hands and quickly taking Han Fei's attack. As fast as the wind, as fierce as a tiger, over the years, Han Fei's heart has actually been angry because of his father's distribution, and in his previous life, because of Han Shaoshan, his mother and sister died tragically, so although he has strong feelings for Han Shaoshan, he has not complained much. But even if there was before, it was impossible to do anything to Han Shaoshan. But this time, Han Shaoshan actually took the initiative to let Han Fei do it. Han Fei's anger suddenly burst out, and he didn't hide the slightest clumsiness as soon as he made a move, because he knew very well that his father was an absolute master, and his strength was definitely above the dark power. Woo woo. As Han Fei shot with all his might, he saw that the moment the two of them fought, Han Shaoshan was actually suppressed, although he quickly resisted Han Fei's attack with his hand, but while resisting the attack, his body actually fell backwards, and while retreating, he obviously found that his hand that was in contrast to Han Fei was extremely painful. Sure enough, it's a dark energy level. Stinky boy, have you been on drugs for the past 3 years? Besides, it's so strong. How many people have you killed in the past 3 years? Han Shaoshan exclaimed in disbelief. The eyes that looked at Han Fei were full of shock, although their strength at this time was also at the level of dark energy, but in the blink of an eye, he understood that although Han Fei seemed to be the same as his martial arts level at this moment, the strength he showed was much, much stronger than him. Iron Mountain. Han Fei didn't pay attention to Han Shaoshan's shock, and in the moment of repelling Han Shaoshan, Taishan came out by casting it, like a speeding train, and slammed into Han Shaoshan fiercely. Bang! Han Shaoshan made a move to resist the attack, but when he resisted the attack, the huge force still knocked him away. Split the palm. When Han Shaoshan was knocked into the air, Han Fei's body spun, twisted his body, and followed Han Shaoshan like a shadow, his right hand into a palm, like a god and Buddha opening the sky, and attacked Han Shaoshan head-on. A terrifying aura filled Han Fei's body, his eyes were red, and a powerful force was instilled in this palm. Before the attack arrived, the chi energy slashed through the air, causing Han Shaoshan's pupils to shrink wildly. I had the intention to resist, but I found that I couldn't keep up with Han Fei's speed at this moment, and Han Fei's palm was too fast. My life is at rest. Han Shaoshan smiled bitterly. He never thought that just a discussion would become like this. Dad, don't. The exclamation sounded from Han Yao's mouth on the side, her pretty face turned pale, and the scene in front of her was completely beyond her imagination. With Han Yao's voice, I saw that Han Fei's body, which was full of evil aura and his eyes were full of fierceness, shook suddenly, and then his body quickly spun around and misplaced the attack, and slammed his palm on the ground on the side. Bang! As he did this, a deafening explosion sounded, and then, I saw that the place where his palm was attacked, it was actually cracked inch by inch. Stinky boy, you're going to murder your own father. Han Shaoshan looked at Han Fei with palpitations, and was really a little frightened by the scene just now. What's the matter with you? Why is your strength so weak? Han Fei didn't explain anything, but looked at Han Shaoshan with a frown. In his impression, Han Shaoshan should have the strength to transform strength. He had previously felt that Han Shaoshan was above the dark energy, and he was just a conservative perception. After all, in his previous life, his father was a Grandmaster Master at the level of Huajin. Otherwise, he would not have pulled up the 72 places in the Hades Palace. In addition, according to Han Fei's knowledge, The main reason why Han Shaoshan would die at that time was because his mother and sister were arrested by the people of the Hades Palace, which made Han Shaoshan distracted and unable to do his best. Otherwise, Han Shaoshan would not have died at that time. Therefore, according to the situation in the previous life, even if this life is different, Han Shaoshan's strength should not be too low. After all, Han Shaoshan is now the commander of a military region in charge of a special forces no matter what he says. 10 years ago, when I didn't become a military commander, a mission was plotted by a little devil, and my muscles and veins were injured, and my strength dropped greatly, and I haven't. Well, Han Shaoshan said with a complicated face, and when he said this, he subconsciously clenched his fists. I see, no wonder your strength is so good now. Han Fei shook his head. Food, stinky boy. You actually say that you are a dish? Han Shaoshan's eyes widened and he stared at Han Fei with an angry expression. I'm just stating a fact, but don't worry, I'll avenge you. In addition, if you lose this competition, don't think about letting me be a soldier in the future. Otherwise, I will definitely tell my mother about it, and tell my mother that you have always wanted me to die, Han Fei said. When did I send you to death, boy? You tell me clearly, Han Shaoshan said loudly. Han Fei pursed his lips and didn't say anything more. Then he looked at Han Yao on the side, and then walked in front of Han Yao, ignoring Han Shaoshan staring on the side, and held Han Yao's soft hand. Sister, let's go shopping. With Han Fei doing this, Han Yaochao's face turned slightly red, then nodded, and she was ready to go out with Han Fei. Wait. Han Shaoshan suddenly stopped Han Fei and Han Yao. What's wrong? Han Fei stopped and looked at Han Shaoshan with a puzzled expression. Tell me about your situation. What's going on with your evil spirit, and what's going on with your state just now? If it wasn't Yao's voice just now, you're afraid you'll kill me. Your state is very wrong. A little like you have gone mad. Han Shaoshan looked at Han Fei with a straight face. It's not because of you, comrade Han Shaoshan. If it weren't for you who made me do things I didn't like one after another, and sent me to Nanjing, how could I be in such a state? That state is just an explosion of anger. Han Fei glared at Han Shaoshan and said very unhappily. This. Han Shaoshan opened his mouth, his face suddenly becoming embarrassed. Don't worry, I won't force you in the future. You can do whatever you want. Alas, I just don't want to see you waste your qualifications in vain. After Han Shaoshan was embarrassed for a moment, he sighed with emotion and said to Han Fei with a straight face. I hope you can do what you say. I really don't want to be a soldier. If you continue to push me the next time, I don't know if I'll ever be able to get out of that state. Han Fei looked at Han Shaoshan with a straight face. What he said was half true, and he wasn't completely fooling Han Shaoshan about anything. Just now, there was a sudden outburst of anger. In that state, his situation is indeed dangerous. Just now, he didn't care that the person who made his move was his father. If it wasn't for Han Yao's voice, he would really beat Han Shaoshan to death on the spot. The resentment of the previous life and the anger of being persecuted one after another in this life, under the double outburst, it was definitely very terrifying. You have to believe in my character, Han Shaoshan said. Well, it's really okay now. Han Fei changed his words. Don't be busy, don't you want to fool me through? You only answered me one question I asked. You haven't answered me yet. Why is the evil chi on your body so heavy? What have you done in the past 3 years? In addition to yesterday's murder, have you killed other people? Han Shaoshan said in a deep voice. Han Fei was silent. Seeing Han Fei like this, Han Shaoshan took a deep look at Han Fei, and then said, It's okay, you and Yao go play. Oh. Han Fei answered, and then left the villa with Han Yao. As they left, Han Shaoshan's face was very serious at this moment. What has the stinky boy done in the past 3 years? There must be a lot of hidden problems in his body. No, we have to check this stinky boy carefully. However, if you want to find out, I am afraid that with ordinary intelligence networks, I will not be able to find out at all. After all, I have been asking my subordinates to pay attention to Han Fei in the past 3 years. But I don't know that he has killed other people at all. It seems that I can only go to the old man. Han Shaoshan turned his mind solemnly, and then strode towards the outside of the villa. At this moment, Han Shaoshan's target is the South China Sea. He didn't want to do anything to Han Fei, but he cared about Han Fei and was afraid that Han Fei would go astray. Han Fei didn't know that Han Shaoshan had gone to check on his situation carefully. After he and Han Yao left the villa, the two of them played happily. The two held hands and strolled through the streets. It's like a couple. Han Yao knew that he was not the bloodline of the old Han family, but in fact, Han Fei also knew it. Of course, the Han Fei in this life is not aware of this at all. Han Fei was able to know that it was because his mother had told him such a situation in his previous life, although after coming to this world, he had not carefully verified Han Yao's life experience, but he was also very sure that Han Yao was definitely not his biological sister. As for why this is so sure, it's purely intuitive and subtle observation. If Han Yao was his biological sister, it would be impossible for him to blush because he was holding hands with him or something. Because of the lack of Han Shaoxun's persecution again, Han Fei stayed in Kyoto for the next few days, and lived a life of envy for others again every day. I go shopping and eat with my sister, and I get tired of listening to music together or something. Or run to see the sunrise, see the stars. Regarding the situation of the two of them, Comrade Han Shaoxun did not express the slightest opinion. If it was Han Fei in the past, he would definitely have an opinion, but now Han Fei, since he was defeated by Han Fei, Han Shaoxun has already understood that he really can't control Han Fei. Especially when he went to Zhongnane and learned some secret things about Han Fei from the old man's mouth. Just 3 years, nearly 100 people died at Han Fei's hands. In the past 3 years, Han Fei has been involved in many cases at the border, and he exists behind many big cases. Grim Reaper. After a long time, the Grim Reaper, who has been very famous in the past 3 years, is this kid of his own. Although this kid is secretive, ordinary people can't find out about him at all. But he still left some clues. Relying on these clues, with the intelligence power of the 7 Killings group controlled by the old man, he still deduced that Han Fei was the Grim Reaper. He had actually already begun to pay attention to Han Fei's situation. However, although the old man deduced that Han Fei was the god of death, the old man told Han Shaoxun not to expose Han Fei anything. Because, although it was very wrong for Han Fei to do this, after all, he had no law enforcement power, but the people he killed were all people who deserved to die. As long as it's not a real crime, the old man can keep Han Fei. Regarding the kind of thing that he would know about the 7 Killings group, although Han Shaoxun didn't tell Han Fei, in fact, Han Fei knew from the first time he made a move that what he did would still be violent and revealing sooner or later. He had dealt with the 7 Kills group in his previous life, and he knew the intelligence capabilities of the 7 Kills team very well. Unless he can transform into a disguise, if he can't transform into a disguise, he can't hide the 7 Kills group at all. And the disguise transformation has to be strong, otherwise it will also be violent and exposed. The 7 Kills group is the most mysterious organization in the Republic. This organization has an incomparably large number of strange abilities. Even if Han Fei has been on the heavenly list in his previous life, he still doesn't know how strong the strongest person in the 7 Kills group is. However, of course, although Han Fei knew that he would be violent and exposed sooner or later, he actually didn't know that he would be violent and exposed so soon. Of course, the reason why this is the case is because of the son of the second chief, or because his grandfather has been paying attention to him, otherwise, it would not have been possible to be exposed so quickly. After Han Fei's morning practice was over that day, he suddenly received a phone call. "Brother Feifei, when are you going back to Nanjing?" It was Lin Xiaoxiao who called. "Why, you missed me," Han Fei replied with a smile. "Not really," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "Then you ask me when I will go back to Nanjing and do something," Han Fei said. "Brother Feifei, have you read the recent newspapers? We are about to hold a boxing match here, and Cheng Guang participated in this boxing match," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "What does this have to do with me going back to Nanjing?" Han Fei said. "Don't you care about the morning light?" Lin Xiaoxiao said. "That kind of boxing match is not difficult for Cheng Guang today. I have participated in many times in the 3 years I have been. As long as it is not a real master, Cheng Guang can easily win the championship," Han Fei said. "But this time there is a master. This time Cheng Guang's opponent is Muay Thai master Cha Chai. It is said that his strength is very powerful. I'm worried that Cheng Guang won't be his opponent," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "Cha Chai?" Han Fei blinked. "Yes, it's Cha Chai, Brother Feifei. You should hurry back to Nanjing, so as to cheer up for the morning light and cheer up," Lin Xiaoxiao said. "Cha Chai is not going to be a match for Cheng Guang," Han Fei said. Hearing Han Fei say this, Lin Xiaoxiao was immediately disappointed. She thought that Han Fei would not come back, but, just when she thought that Han Fei would not go back, Han Fei's words changed. "But, Well, I'll go back and see, when is the game? 3 days later. Lin Xiaoxiao said. Well, I'll go back the day after tomorrow, Han Fei said. Ah, can't you hurry up? Lin Xiaoxiao said. It's already very fast to go back the day after tomorrow. Okay, Xiaoxiao. I won't talk to you more, I have something to do, so I'll hang up like this. Han Fei said, and hung up the phone. With Han Fei hanging up the phone, at this time in Nanjing, Lin Xiaoxiao was holding a big rabbit puppet, pouting at the mobile phone that had been hung up, then throwing the mobile phone aside, and then grabbing the big rabbit puppet with both hands. I saw that on the 2 ears of this puppet, there was a flying word embroidered on each other. Together, it's Feifei. Why do you have to wait for 2 days, brother Feifei is really, don't you want to meet me sooner? Lin Xiaoxiao ravaged her rabbit puppet with a very unhappy look, obviously taking the rabbit puppet for Han Fei. On the other side, as Han Fei hung up the phone, Han Fei found that he had a lot of calls today. Because he dared to hang up the phone, his mobile phone suddenly rang again. Girl. This time it was a girl who called. Seeing that it was a girl's call, Han Fei answered the phone with a smile and then said, Hey, girl. Don't come, don't, Feifei save me, save me. When Han Fei smiled and spoke, on the other side of the microphone, a panicked voice suddenly came, and his voice was obviously crying. Girl. Hearing these words, Han Fei's body shook violently, and his face changed drastically. Girl. Where are you, girl, toot. What answered Han Fei was the voice of the phone being hung up. Damn. Han Fei's eyes burst out with an incomparably terrifying murderous aura. The system gave me the location of the girl. Han Fei ordered the system murderously, and as he did so, the system suddenly quickly positioned, and then Han Fei clearly saw the girl's location from the radar map. According to the map, today's girl is also in the imperial capital. I want you to die. Han Fei quickly rushed out of the room, and when he rushed out, he happened to bump into Han Xiaoshan. Dad, give me the keys to your car, Han Fei said in a deep voice, his voice unquestionable. What's going on? Seeing Han Fei like this, feeling the undisguised, rich murderous aura on Han Fei's body that made people tremble and tremble from the heart, Han Xiaoshan didn't care about Han Fei's impoliteness, but asked with a straight face. I'm going out, give me the key, Han Fei said hurriedly. Seeing this, Han Xiaoshan didn't bother anymore, although he was very curious about what the situation was, but he also hurriedly gave the key to Han Fei, almost at the time when he gave the key to Han Fei. Han Fei quickly disappeared from Han Xiaoshan's sight, walked towards the garage for the first time, and then started the car and roared out of the villa. All the way, I don't care if I ran a red light. Han Fei's father's car was a military vehicle, and the license plate was also a special license plate, and when he was speeding all the way, when he ran a lot of red lights, no one dared to stop his car. However, although no one stopped Han Fei's car, this kind of thing also made many people curious, and they didn't understand what was going on. Half an hour. With the imperial capital so blocked, Han Fei came to the location of the radar map in half an hour. This is a warehouse. The warehouse is in the middle of nowhere. In order not to alarm the people in the warehouse, Han Fei parked the car relatively far away from the warehouse. When Han Fei arrived here, his eyes glowed with an incomparably terrifying cold light. According to the radar map, the girl is in this place, and not only is the girl in this place, but there are also a lot of red marks here at this time. Red represents enemies. Represents a must-kill enemy. Phew. Immediately following, Han Fei sneaked into the warehouse, found a dead corner of the warehouse, and entered the warehouse. Han Fei used the display of the radar system to find several vigilant militants as soon as possible. Without the slightest hesitation, Han Fei directly used a tactical dagger to quickly end the lives of these two people. At this time, he is murderous, and the girl is equivalent to the forbidden and forbidden in his heart. Because when he first watched the story of the Special Forces, he was very concerned about the girl, and when he came to this world, the first time he saw the girl was the girl, and the girl was tied to a bomb together. It is equivalent to sharing hardships. In addition, they have not broken contact in the past 3 years, and he is also more spoiled and doting on the girl. Under such circumstances, when he suddenly learned that something had happened to the girl, one can imagine how angry Han Fei was. In the center of the warehouse, at this time, a girl who was only 12 or 13 years old, wearing a white princess dress, with a delicate face, snow-white skin, pink and tender, and a pair of golden princess shoes under her feet, was being tied to a chair. This girl was the girl Han Fei was looking for. When the girl was tied to the chair, a yellow-haired young man was making a phone call. I'm telling you, you'd better prepare 10 million cash for me within 3 hours, or I'll torture your daughter right away. Don't tell me that the time is too hasty. I can't get so much cash. I know your family very well. If you can't take it out, I'll find a way. Once I can't take it out, I will definitely not be soft. Besides, you'd better not play any tricks on me, then I'll make your daughter's life worse than death. Life worse than death, you know. Also, I'm going to kill everyone in your family, so if you don't believe me, you can try. I'm in a bad mood, I'm not. 3 years ago, just because of your daughter, just because of him, because of your daughter, my eldest brother Gao Sen was killed by those damn guys from the Wolf-Tooth Special Brigade. I want revenge. I will definitely take revenge. What, you have to listen to your daughter's voice? Okay, I'll let you listen to. The yellow-haired young man roared angrily as he made a phone call, and his body was full of evil energy. Dressed in a hip-hop denim suit, with a finger-thick gold necklace around his neck and a scar on his face, the yellow-haired young man didn't look like a good guy. As he roared angrily, not far from him, there were several armed bandits, all of whom were quietly watching him. The yellow-haired young man suddenly grabbed the girl's long hair with his hand and said to the girl fiercely, "Speak to me and let your mother listen to your voice." "Mom, the girl is so scared. The girl is so scared. Brother Xiaofei, the girl wants Brother Xiaofei too." The girl cried in fear. "How can I hear your daughter's voice? I heard it. Just and prepare money for me. Remember, 10 million, not a penny. Cash, me, just cash, checks, transfers, etc. Don't give me that set. You think I don't know how easy it is to be tracked by the police? Lao Su is not so stupid." The yellow-haired young man said to the phone again, and hung up the phone as he spoke. After hanging up the phone, he let go of the hand that was tugging at the girl's long hair, then put the phone in his pocket, and then pulled out a tactical dagger from his trouser leg, and patted the girl on the face with a sneer. "Stinky girl. What would it be like if you said I would cut you in the face? Wouldn't it be beautiful and beautiful?" The yellow-haired young man said to the girl hideously. "Don't." The girl said aloud and frightened. "Don't, it's a pity. I like to force others. Why didn't you give me death 3 years ago? If it weren't for you damn girl, how could my eldest brother Gao Sen die?" The yellow-haired young man said with a sneer, and as he spoke, the dagger in his hand was about to draw on the girl's face. "Big brother, no, someone has broken into the warehouse." Just as the yellow-haired youth was about to make a move, someone suddenly ran towards the yellow-haired young man from a corner in fright. "What did you say? Somebody broke in. Who he, who's going to dare to break in? Are you all wood? Why don't you all go with me and tear that guy to pieces? I don't raise any waste." The yellow-haired young man frowned when he heard this, and then roared loudly. With his words, the people around him immediately ran out one after another. "Ah! Don't, ah!" As the subordinates around him ran out, followed by the screams that rang out from a corner, and the sound of his screams was very terrifying, falling into the ears of the yellow-haired young man, all of which made his body tremble subconsciously. "What's going on, dog, gang?" After trembling slightly, the yellow-haired young man subconsciously shouted towards the place where the screams came from. However, no one answered him, and his face changed instantly, becoming a little pale. Then with a flash of cruelty in his eyes, he quickly pulled out a gun, and walked towards the place where the screams came, and soon his pupils contracted violently, and when he came to the place where the screams were screaming, he saw a lot of corpses. All his men died. One by one, their throats were cut, or their hands and tendons were broken, and then they were killed. How long has it been? And all of his men were killed. Terrible. Goo. The yellow-haired young man couldn't help but swallow his saliva. His back was cold at this moment, the cold hair stood up, and a deep fear surged up in his heart at this moment. Phew. Suddenly, a rapid sound of breaking the air sounded, and with the sound of breaking the air, I saw a tactical dagger flying towards the yellow-haired young man quickly from somewhere, and suddenly inserted it into his right arm holding the gun, causing the gun in his hand to fall to the ground all of a sudden. Phew. At the same time that the gun fell to the ground, a figure rushed out quickly, and before the yellow-haired young man could see anything clearly, a terrifying huge force bombarded his body, and at the same time as the huge force bombarded him, a terrible sharp pain also appeared. Click. Ah. The yellow-haired young man's shoulders were shattered, and both arms were suddenly incapacitated, and the severe pain made him scream uncontrollably. Then the yellow-haired youth saw a man. I saw a handsome teenager dressed in casual clothes. He was only 17 or 18 years old. Who are you? The yellow-haired young man endured the pain and spoke to the young man in front of him with great anger. He knew very well that he didn't know the young man in front of him. The one who killed you, Han Fei said coldly. Along with Han Fei's words, his body spun, and a whirlwind leg hit the yellow-haired youth's temple, splitting it out, and in the moment of splitting out, the yellow-haired youth's eyes lost their anxiety and were killed by Han Fei's kick. After doing such a thing, Han Fei didn't look at the yellow-haired young man much, and ran towards the center of the warehouse. Then I came to the girl's location. Brother Xiaofei. Seeing Han Fei appear, the girl who was tied to the chair suddenly lit up, and then called to Han Fei excitedly. Well, it's okay. Han Fei walked to the girl's side, rubbed the girl's head with his hand, and then waved the tactical dagger in his hand to cut the rope that bound the girl. Brother Xiaofei. After the girl regained her freedom, she immediately threw herself into Han Fei's arms. Tears flowed from the corners of her eyes. She was scared by today's incident. I'm not dead, don't cry, good. Han Fei gently patted the girl's back with his hand, and waited for the girl to vent her scared emotions before taking out her mobile phone. This time it is impossible to hide it. Han Fei had to deal with the aftermath as soon as possible, and if he wanted to, naturally there was nothing safer than finding his father, so he called comrade Han Xiaoshen's phone, and then told Han Xiaoshen about the matter here. When Han Xiaoshen heard Han Fei's words, his pupils shrank instantly, and then signaled Han Fei not to leave with the girl first, and then let people arrange it. In the evening, in the study room of a villa in the compound of the military region, Han Fei and Han Xiaoshen sat in this place. You stinky boy is getting more and more ruthless. This time he killed 17 people as soon as he struck. That's 17 lives. Han Xiaoshen said to Han Fei Zheng's. Shouldn't they be damned by their behavior? Han Fei said. Damn it, of course, but boy, every time you attack so hard, sooner or later something will go wrong, Han Xiaoshen said. Han Fei pursed his lips and was non-committal about this. For him, it would be a problem not to kill those people. With the experience of his previous life, he has long been accustomed to it. Once he makes a move, he will cut the grass and eradicate the roots, leaving no one. Because he knows very well that as long as he stays there, it is equivalent to leaving a hidden danger, and no one knows whether the person who stays behind will bring him devastating revenge. He is not afraid of terrorists, but he has a family. Forget it, I won't say much about you, and I can't control you in your current situation. Let's go to your grandfather's tomorrow. You haven't seen your grandfather in a long time, Han Xiaoshen said. Well, I will. Han Fei said. When he said this, a trace of remembrance subconsciously appeared in his eyes. He thought about living with his grandfather in his previous life. Since he was resurrected in this life, to be honest, he hasn't usually gotten along with his grandfather except for the New Year and his grandfather's birthday. Alone, looking at the past 3 years, it seems that there has not been a single time. It's not that he doesn't want to, but because he knows his grandfather's identity, he subconsciously chooses to distance himself from communicating with his grandfather to a certain extent. Second Elder, and his subordinates are also in charge of the 7 Kills group. With what he has done in the past 3 years, once his grandfather wants to investigate it in detail, he can't hide it at all. The next day, Han Fei came to the mysterious courtyard, had a certain inspection, and entered it. Although he is the grandson of the Second Elder, this is the place where the high level of the state is located after all, so even if his identity is unique, entering this place must be checked to a certain extent. After coming here, he came to a courtyard under the guidance of a person. Then he saw his grandfather. This is an old man in a tang costume. He will be boxing in the courtyard, and his every move looks natural. Ahem. Suddenly, the old man who was punching coughed. Grandpa. Seeing this, Han Fei's pupils shrank, and then he quickly greeted the old man, protecting the old man's body. No, I'm old, I'm just moving my muscles and bones a little, and this body can't bear it, the old man said with a smile. Xiao Fei, how did you remember to run Grandpa here today? With Han Fei's support, the old man came to a stone bench next to a stone table and sat down, and then said with a smile to Han Fei. Isn't this coming to see you, Grandpa? Han Fei said with a smile. You little monkey, but you haven't been alone with your grandfather for 3 years. The old man laughed and scolded.